a version of the cast where it was just the game with game sound. Like it was just the game. There's just game sound. There's no casting. I would watch that for like everything over the casting. But like I don't know, I just use the replay files for that.
Yeah.
For me personally, if I was like a viewer, it's like completely different, right? Like pro players just know what's going on, like try to look at everything. So like it's kind of like a little bit of a distraction, I would say, for if you're trying to like actually look at the game. But viewers probably tend to not see as much. So casters are basically their eyes and ears, I would say.
No,
There's a difference.
I would totally agree with that. I feel like it's like, I don't know, like a comparison is like I'm trying to read a book and someone's like reading it to me at the same time and they're like using different words. And it's just like I'd rather just like read the book because I feel like as a pro gamer I can just like I have my own understanding of the game and that's what I'm trying to work on by watching it. I'm not really like that interested in someone else's understanding.
Yeah. Also, like, you're not watching it for entertainment live. You're watching it, like, in YouTube, and you're skipping through fast, like, during parts that aren't important. You're not watching it just the entire 30 minutes straight up.
Makes sense. I was just curious. Are you the best team in the league?
Come on, Jan.
Probably, but I would say that it's not like a big difference. I think a lot of teams are still competitive.
Is that where the hesitation is coming from, or?
Just saying that you're the best teams is kind of rubs me the wrong way. Just saying that you're the best, even though it's like just the season's just started.
Makes sense.
Fair.
Who do you guys think the best team in the LCS is right now?
Dignitas. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's Team Liquid, and I would say it's because, like some of their wins, like some of your guys' wins, look really good. Like game 1 today was an example of like a much more clean game than I've seen in the LCS. So I think like, I don't know. Do I think you're like unstoppable, unbeatable? Like no, but do I think you look like the best right now? Yeah.
Yeah, same. TL is definitely the strongest team right now. But that doesn't mean they're going to be for the whole split, of course.
You never know. Maybe we imploded in Saudi Arabia Cup. What is it actually called? The World
Esports World
World
Cup.
Esports Cup.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. It does bring up like something small that we were kind of talking about a little bit on cast, but since you guys have all been to international events and have kind of had to deal with coming back with dealing with either follow or like stuff you learned from that event, how do you carry that and keep that up within LCS?
Well, I mean...
Or if you don't want to, keep it up then.
yeah. I mean, for me recently, like, I had some really rough games at MSI. But honestly, it's, like, really helpful learnings because, like, a high-pressure situation, you're playing against better teams. Every team you scrim is, like, way better than your normal scrims in NA. So you just kind of... You honestly just get, like, really good quality practice. And, yeah, you can just use that to, like, set goals for when you come back and it's the next split. Yeah.
Actually, we went through the same thing you did. T1 into lose to minor region to maybe next international is going to be your guys' our RMS, I guess.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that Worlds.
I see.
I don't know about your MSI, but phew.
I mean, results not good, but like I'm glad it happened. 'Cause,
Yeah.
for example, like right now, I appreciate the fact that I got to learn all this stuff there for sure.
Yeah, I enjoy getting on there. I enjoy getting absolutely railed every scrim at Worlds.
Bro, but that's like enlightening.
Yeah,
you know?
it was, like,
It's
it was
good for you.
It was
good
good,
for you.
but like it was like a little bit traumatizing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like, man, can we do nothing?
Yeah, it's tough mentally, but you're glad it happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much.
there we go.
Do you agree with that? You've also had this experience, I assume.
International. I mean, it's been a mixed bag for me. I think sometimes it's like sometimes the team just falls apart, is what it feels like, or has in my experience. Like sometimes you go and just like things aren't working, or people aren't handling the pressure well. You're fighting a lot. Sometimes players just don't handle traveling that well, which I feel like isn't something that people have ever talked about. But I think that like being like used to international travel is actually a really big advantage for like going to an international tournament. Like if you're used to like going to hotels and being on long plane flights and it's not like your first time, I think that actually helps a lot. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's really good and you learn a lot, and sometimes you're like my teams in the past have just kind of imploded. And there's always things to learn from it though. Like I think like win or lose, do well or do bad. Even when your team implodes, there's things you can take away of like what to do better next time. So always useful, always good to go. Sometimes really sucks while you're there.
Licorice, who's the worst traveler you've played with?
The worst
Yeah,
traveler.
call us some names. Who's bad at traveling?
I don't know. No one comes to mind, but I think like
There was Golden Guardian C9, right? What else?
Golden Guardian C9. Yeah, that's it.
Who are the players there? Who was-
C9 was me, Blabber, Svenskaren, Jensen, Sneaky Zazel. And then the next year was Niski, Blabber. But same bot lane, I think. And then GG was me, River, Gory, Huhi, Stixay. But I just think like, I don't know, like being away from home and like being able to get those mental resets after scrims and like be able to like actually process what you've learned and come back the next day and not just like start running it down. Because I think there's like kind of a cycle that people can get into where it's like scrims go badly, so then they play solo queue and they're upset, so then solo queue goes badly and it can kind of just like keep bleeding into itself. So just being able to like take a break and get away from it, I think is a really important skill.
But can you really let like solo queue affect your scrims as a pro player? I feel like previously when I wasn't a pro player, like solo queues would weigh a lot on me, like the results. But now as a pro player, it's like you're just using solo queue for practice, right? But I definitely agree with you, like at internationals, because the environment's like you're in a hotel room with all the guys, like it's hard to get a reset.
Yeah.
But you think like solo queue is really part of that?
I just think like it might not be the best thing you could be doing with your time. Like maybe it's better to like go for a walk or go to the gym or
I
do
completely
something
agree.
else. But I think like a lot of players, they're like in a weird country and in a hotel room and they're like, I'm just gonna play solo queue. And I know
I will agree with that.
Don't wanna go outside?
I've heard stories about you.
during Worlds. So we were like getting in scrims at
Okay.
Worlds, and I was like trying to like blow off some steam or like just try to play a little bit better. So
Yeah.
like, I was just lose,
Yeah.
defeat, and I was just like,
John, you got to take a break, bro. It's secret technology.
and I had to take a break then.
Yeah. Good.
I was like, oh, nothing's going right. Even solo queue.
I see. Yeah. It spirals bad for sure.
I could definitely tell I was playing a lot worse in solo queue because of like probably the stress or like.
Yeah. I understand.
Well, I feel like there's also, I guess, coming from NA, right? I feel like there's also some form of pressure to play solo queue, or at least like I don't know. This is my very outside perception, but like even when I'm in Korea and I'm bad, I want to play the game because their solo queue is better. So I know I'm gonna get better practice. I don't know if pros feel that same kind of pressure though.
So for us, we played in the super server.
Yeah.
It was kind of dead. We didn't really get to play solo queue that much, I will say.
Yeah. You could only queue during like right after scrims when other pros are queuing up. But if you queue up at like not that time, honestly, it was just like in the evening. You could only queue, and in the morning you couldn't get games at all.
I was very shocked. I was like, wait, the server's dead. What happened?
Yeah.
I heard it was very popular back in the day, but I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, definitely there is like an expectation you should play solo queue. You should always be playing solo queue. It doesn't mean you should play as much solo queue as you can all the time, because that might not be that beneficial. But again, there's like a balance. Like I know some people prefer like 1v1s or 2v2s. I heard Licorice, you're maybe one of those guys where you like practice more through 1v1s. Or I could be coping. That's just like something I heard.
Especially like regular season, I found like playing solo queue and scrims is the better way to go about it. But it's like as you get closer to playoffs and it's like there's one patch and there's like one meta, I find that 1v1s have a lot really high value at that point. So I do like to do 1v1 practice, especially like in playoffs.
Makes sense. Me and Jan 2v2 last night.
Yeah.
Good practice?
Good practice.
For sure.
Yeah.
Who
I
won?
was-
I mean, we played like many matchups.
Oh.
I don't
No winning.
remember.
It's like we're just practicing. The
Yeah.
game ends at like 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just to test-
someone's
everyone
dead.
flashes
Wait
forward.
for-
It's just to see who's actually stronger. It's like a damage test against actual players.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. What you practice in like 2v2s, at least in like bot lane in my experience, like rarely happens actually in stage, because both bot lanes are like playing to the absolute limit to really see like who wins the stat checks and like trying creative strats. So it's just good like info gathering in terms of like the limits of matchups. Yeah.
Because you're like in scrims, you're like, we could coin flip it, but it's not going to be good
Yeah.
practice for the
Yeah,
other 6
exactly,
people. So
exactly.
we should do it another time where we actually know.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Another thing I guess you guys all have in common is when you ended up on your rosters, you kind of entered with really experienced veterans when you first started. So I'm going to start it with a really cheesy question, which is, what is the worst advice you received from a veteran player on your team?
The worst.
Or like, did they try to troll you? I hear just because I hear this a lot in like a rookie player coming onto the roster, your veterans didn't try to troll you at all or anything.
Not really.
Yeah, not really.
My veteran is pretty serious overall, I would say.
Yeah, usually they're trying to help you, not troll you.
Core and then later impact.
All I would say about Core is probably he just tries to gaslight me sometimes, and it's so obvious. It's like, yo, did you hear? I heard that guy said he's better than you. Are you gonna take that? I'm like, if I check this YouTube video, and if Berserker doesn't say it, I know you're gaslighting me. Because I know Berserker doesn't say that kind of stuff.
Did he ever fool you into thinking it? Or no?
No, it's-
Every
it's just
time
so
you're just
obvious.
like, no.
The first time? Not
The
even
first time, maybe the first time, but I don't know what it was. I'm like,
Okay.
did he really say that? And I looked through the video, I'm like, man. I think my veterans were very serious at advice, just like feedback.
That's good. Me and my veteran Blippo, 2 days ago in scrims, or was it yesterday? It was actually yesterday. We got our GM to order us donuts during second block, so I ate 5 donuts before one scrim game, and I had like maximum energy. It was pretty good. Me and Blippo definitely came together for that play.
Was that game 6 or was that?
I'm sorry,
If that wasn't game 6, I'm really curious about like the games after
No,
that one.
okay. So I didn't eat 5 at once. So coming into game 4, I ate 3, but then game
Okay.
ended. Game 5's coming. I can't just like stop. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
no,
to
you're
keep
in-
eating
you're in too
donuts or I'm
deep.
gonna
Yeah,
crash.
exactly,
so I had to
exactly.
pop one more donut before game 5, and then of course game 6, and it was great scrims, great practice.
Wow.
That sounds like so much sugar. What kind of donuts were these?
Krispy Kreme donuts, of course.
Oh my god.
But those are like small and one
Wow.
tappable. Those are like 5 donuts.
Yeah, very
not really.
reasonable, very reasonable, right?
Yeah, super
Yeah,
reasonable.
yeah,
Yeah.
How many donuts were ordered?
24.
Based.
Wait, so you ate almost a quarter of that?
Yeah, well, Inspire doesn't want to eat them for the calories, so he gave me his. So I mass donuts.
You gotta help your teammate out.
Yeah, I did it for him. I didn't want to eat 5, but I did it for my jungler, I'm that guy.
Nice
I'm a
vibes.
homie.
Nice.
I'm just thinking of the sugar content.
It was good.
I'm sure it was tasty.
What was the crash like afterwards?
No, I was actually chilling. Like, surprisingly, I was fine. I mean, I was also eating, like, mass Greek yogurts in between. I was just, like, really hungry. So, like, I had a good mix of
Did you
Crazy.
not eat
macros.
breakfast?
Huh?
Did you not eat breakfast?
No, I did. And I had, like, a bunch of string cheese, too. Like, I was just eating during that scrim set, for sure.
So breakfast, string cheese, Greek yogurt, donuts.
Yeah, but, like, 3 string cheeses, maybe, like, 3 Greek yogurts, Like,
Wow.
because you need to balance out the donuts,
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Did you eat dinner?
Yes.
Wow.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, based.
You guys should try it out.
I feel like travel must not affect you at all. You're just vibing.
When I'm like jet lagged and super tired, I'm annoyed. But like in terms of that stuff, I'm a good traveler, I guess. Unlike your past teammates that you won't name drop.
I mean, it's not even like, to be clear, it wasn't even like anyone on my team, but I've just felt like
Yeah.
some players show up differently internationally than like domestically. I mean, like Dade being like a really famous example of that. And it's like, I mean, some people are just bad at traveling. Like I swear, like I think it can really have a big impact. And
Well,
it's
I
really just headcanon.
There's a reason why, I think Chinese and Korean teams will bring, boxes and boxes of, ramen or, whatever they're used to eating to, get used to the food in a different country. I don't think that's, I don't think it's that weird to hear.
Yeah, I heard a funny story from my teammates. In one international event, I think it was in Iceland or something, some of the Eastern teams were bringing rice cookers and cooking in the hotel room, and the hotel lost power or something. I don't really know anything
knew that was coming.
specific about the story. I wasn't there obviously, but it's just a funny story I've heard. I'm like, nice. They're prepared. They're cooking.
Actually, I got a pretty similar story.
Yeah?
So Core, when we were in Korea, bought like this miniature ramen like little thing,
Yeah.
and he bought like the little. It's like a little box where you put like ramen in.
Okay.
So he just brought it to the hotel, and then at night after scrims, he would just make some ramen
That's good. That's good.
in a hotel. I was like, damn, that's smart. But I'm like, that's
Hardcore.
crazy.
Did he give you some?
Yeah, Umti made me some. Is
Oh,
good.
the general.
The general, he's
the
good at
general.
making ramen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That reminds me of one of these episodes. I think he promised to make, or no, who he promised to make him kimchi jjigae. We need to see if that pays off. What is, just bringing it back to veteran players, what's the best advice you've received from them? Or just generally, like, I know I've heard from Umti, he jokes around a lot about, he'll be like, I'm going in on this play. And then Impact will be like, no. And he'll be like, okay, I'm not going in on this play.
I don't know. I got a lot of advice in general, so it's like a lot of the things I learned was from core. So hard to say one specific thing. Just we look at every game, try to get the most out of it. I don't know.
Any life advice? What's core life advice like?
No life advices. Just here's what you have to do. Here's what you have to do better. Do that next time.
This checks out.
That's good.
Best advice. I don't know. I think it's always just when people are straight with me. Like, I think, I mean, the one that comes to mind is Reapered. So it's like not even a player, but like my first year on C9, I really inted my first playoffs, and he like pulled me aside and we like talked about it, and he was just like, hey, like here's the deal, you got to play better or you're gonna get kicked, and like here's what I want you to work on. And I was like, cool. And that was like one of the best conversations I've had in my whole career. So I just think it's like when people are able to just be straight with you, then I think that's always the best. So yeah.
Yeah, and for me, similar to Jan, like, for example, Inspired and Bupa have taught me so much, given so much advice, but it's not like one thing in specific I can think of. I mean, I guess one specific thing Bupa said was just like try to make plans that are very simple for your team to follow in high pressure situations, because like when the game's very hectic and whatnot, giving like simple comms, simple plan can really put your team on the same page, and that's like valuable.
Nice. Makes sense. One thing Best of Threes has brought us is kind of being able to prepare for only one opponent. Do you guys think that's affected like how your preparation has changed, or no?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can do more in-depth scouting, but yeah, and you should prepare for like multiple games in the series, like when drafts change after like people perform well or things aren't working. But yeah, Best of Threes are just great. I love them. I don't know about you guys, but they're so much fun.
I will say that you get a lot more leisure in how many like. So you probably practice like one specific thing. Or sorry, if you had to play two opponents, I would say you were trying to like get better at the game specifically. But now you can actually like practice specific comps for certain teams. I would say more so. And PO3s, they're so much better. I agree. The only downside is each series matters a lot because there's only 7 games, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll definitely echo that. Like, every game is so important with the current system. It's like I felt a lot of pressure yesterday, like that I didn't want to go 0-2 because I felt like that's like a really hard start to the season. But in terms of just prepping for teams, I think it's really nice. It has like the playoffs feel, because like that's how the playoffs have always worked, and it's just like it's nice to have it be simpler, where like I'm not thinking about multiple teams, and like when one of my opponents is stronger and one of them's weaker, like trying to like maybe spend more time with the stronger opponent or like try to secure the win against the weaker. Like there's just like more going on, and now it's just like, yeah, you play one team and like you're gonna like focus on that and prep drafts for them. So I like it.
So what are you guys focusing on for each other? You play each other next week. Did you know that, first of all?
I did.
I think so. Yeah, I knew that maybe.
Very convincing.
But what are we focusing on? I mean, I don't know. We haven't started scrims for the coming match yet, so I'll see tomorrow, I guess. But what about you, Licorice?
What are we focusing on?
Or just like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's really like for us, it's just like we're just trying to make our scrims good, and then like we're gonna try to like just like prep for what kind of bans we're gonna be looking at, and then just like try to practice games like that, and just like get the specific champion practice of like these champs are gone, so it's probably this meta and this meta. Although FlagQuest is usually a bit of a wild card too, especially with Bippo pulling out random stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You prepare specifically for Bwipo?
I mean, I look at his solo queue, but that's about it.
That's the only hint you get in terms of like what weird pocket picks he might throw at you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can't ban that guy out. Just ban the other one.
Yeah.
And then you guys take on 100 Thieves.
Yeah, 100 Thieves.
What are you looking out for them?
I didn't really watch a lot of the games, but just got to make sure they don't cheese us. Pulling out the first timing of all the other random stuff they pull out. Oh yeah, gotta look out for that Scion.
Oh, yeah.
I actually messaged Ayla yesterday because Impact was like, why do you pick Scion? That champion's even trash in top lane. So I asked him and I was like, we play next week. I can't tell you. I'm like, oh, yeah, we play next week, don't we?
So the Scion secret pick that he's preparing. Are they still frauds? I remember the last episode I had you on. It was you, Ayla, and Armeo. And it was right after, I believe, the 100 Thieves 17 scrim game loss streak.
I mean, I was honestly joking about the fraud thing, but how did they lose? I think they're 1-1 right now, right?
Yeah.
They beat Energy and then they lost to us.
I will say I think they're way better at BO1s than BO3s, most likely. Just the way they play. They're very, like, a dynamic, strong team. Or, sorry, a very explosive team, I would say. So BO3s probably don't help them as much because a lot of teams, like, can prepare around it more. But I think they're still good. I think they fit well, fit together well.
I think 100 Thieves, like, because I watched their recent matches because they played Energy, so obviously I was watching the Energy games, and they just like fight a lot. It isn't always at the right time. They're just kind of like playing by vibes. Like they don't have it all figured out, but like they kind of commit to a plan. So it's like kind of nice to see. They're just like having a good time. So if like the enemy team is playing scared or isn't very confident, they can definitely win.
Did you get that sense? That they're
From
just
playing
vibing? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you played them yesterday, right?
Gosh, I mean, like game 1 was really hard. I felt like their draft was really good. We weren't ready for it. But then we flipped Baron and we won. So sucks to be them. And
Nice.
then game 2. Yeah, I just think they're generally pretty proactive. They're always looking for a lot of plays. Like I would say River's not really like a full clear on cooldown kind of jungler. So there's definitely like a lot going on and but just in terms of like how strong they are, I wouldn't rate them that highly. I would say they're like pretty firmly like mid in LCS.
I'm going to end on, is there anything that has, or what has surprised you this split thus far? What's been the biggest surprise in LCS?
How is Skarner being left open?
Did we leave it up?
Yeah, you left it open versus us, I think.
Yeah, you guys lost. It was Impact Zach.
I don't know if that was Carter. I'm gonna be honest with you. We lost at level 1, then we lost at level 4.
I don't know. Skarner looked pretty broken,
I think
despite what happened in the game.
I think Udyr would have shit on us that game too. I'm gonna be honest. Or anything, Cassante, whatever he wanted to play. But Skarner might be OP. We'll see.
Might be. Yeah.
I can't leak anything.
Yeah.
We
what
could
do you
leave it
think,
open.
Mr. Top Laner?
I'm more down to play against Skarner, but
Wow.
the rest of my team hates it. So
Okay.
I'm like I'll play against it. Like I'm vibing, and then my team doesn't like it. So that's generally like
Yeah.
that's where we're at with Skarner.
They don't trust you.
Yeah, kind of.
No, it should be you can't trust them to not die to the Skarner.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's true. The way that Skarner works.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like with these new champs, when people like think they're OP, it's like when they die to them, they get more mad than like normal, I think. So then like it's just kind of like it's easier to just have it out of the game a lot of times.
True.
When there is a champ that seems that broken, I know it is being left up in LPL and LCK a little bit more.
Yeah.
In some situations, I think there have been some interesting and like good counter matchups. In other situations, I think it's been left up and it's been a bit troll. But when you have a champion that seems that broken, why do you think it doesn't get banned? Like in the situations we've seen, or like why did you not ban Skarner? I guess
What did we
in
pick?
your
1, 2, 3?
series.
What did we give it for giving Skarner? I don't remember.
I don't remember either,
What did we pick?
but I think teams just try to find solutions to like a permaban because you don't want to be always stuck
I
banning.
mean, you will lose like a lot of cards if you just keep banning it over and over. So like,
Yeah.
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 Especially if you have to ban like another top laner, and then you just need to ban 2 top laners, and then you have no bans on red side really. So teams try to find solutions, good counter picks, and like it's worth a shot. It's just
Yeah, or also things to trade it for. Like
Yeah.
NRG today traded it for Senna Karthus, which I
Yep.
thought was like a good try, and
Yeah.
like it didn't work out for them. I think, right? You guys won.
yeah, we won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good try, I guess, but like I don't know. I don't think the trade makes sense, but of course everybody thinks the champ is a different level of power.
Yeah, everyone has their own read
Yeah.
on things, and it's like you have to trust your own read, and sometimes you're wrong, and sometimes you're right, and you know.
yeah. Unrelated to our game, I would say that whenever a new champion comes out, I think players are very bad at the new champion or a rework champion. I think I would actually say like most of like what people are showing is like probably not even like 60% of what the champion can actually do
Mhm.
from laning phase to the actual game. So I think there's that as well. At the start, you don't realize how strong it actually is because players are actually not good. Then in like a slower game where it doesn't get completely shit on, I would say maybe it's a little bit stronger. But
Yeah, but also like the other players in the game aren't good at playing against the new champ, and usually the person playing the champ prepared it very well because it's a new champ. You can't like mess that up.
Yeah.
So I think it's still an advantage for the person playing it.
yeah, sorry, unrelated to our game, okay? Unrelated to our game.
You traded for Ashtrist.
Ah, shit, we lost.
Draft
Just
gap.
to revisit that. How do you find the balance? Because obviously, like, if something's super broken, right? You want to like take it off the table, and I feel like the community is like overly harsh on like why did you leave this up, right? But then, like you said, you want to be able to find answers to that. Like, you want to be able to like practice it and also find answers because that's literally part of how a metagame evolves. So how do you find that balance?
I mean, I'm sure like I would say we and like Shopify also left it open in the first week, right? It was us and them. Did anyone else leave it open?
I don't remember.
Probably not. Anyways, I'm sure like Shopify scrimmed a lot against Skarner. It probably didn't look good. Maybe they were playing against the bad Skarners like I was talking about, where like it didn't do well. So maybe, or they had a good read on like what can beat it.
Mhm.
You never know because the teams, are even like all the bottom teams, are actually thinking about how to play the game and have their own ideas. So it's not like, why did you guys leave up Skarner? Obviously they had an idea, guys.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It could have
agree
been a
with that.
bad idea, but they were thinking.
Yeah, trying things is good.
Yeah. They didn't just do like a 1-minute draft meeting. Like, yeah, I think we'll open Skarner this week. What do you got into it?
Imagine being that top laner though.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like my job and like the job of a pro player is like when an OP pick comes out, you have to learn it and then you have to learn how to play against it.
Mhm.
And that's just like every time. You learn it and then you learn how to play against it as fast as possible. So like it would just be a challenge, but like it's not gonna happen that way. So
What was your most difficult time of doing that? Like, what is a champ that you had to learn that you absolutely did not want to?
it took me years to learn Rumble. I was a really bad Rumble at the start, and like it was like only like last year after the rework that I pulled it out again, and I was like actually like good at it all of a sudden. But like I really struggled with that champion for a long time, and like I don't know, like that was really frustrating because I like back when Huni was in the league, it's like he'd pick Rumble and I'd lose to it, then I'd pick Rumble and I'd lose to like whatever he played, and I was like, oh my god, this is just this is so terrible.
Yeah, he is the Rumble master. What about you? What have you had to learn? Because you swap from mid too.
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn like every support, but something specific.
I know you picked out Nico.
Nico?
Is
I
that
mean,
right?
I like playing Nico.
Nico?
It wasn't like a protest for me to like have to play it. I don't know. I like playing all champs, even if the champ isn't like that fun or like not my style. Anytime I have like a goal of like trying to perfect a new champ or just like get way better at it, it's just like a fun task, and it just like feels satisfying to see myself get better at a new pick. So I don't really have any bad experiences with that.
What about you, Jan?
Personally, I pride myself as being able to play everything. So, the only champion like I would probably remotely struggle on would have been Senna back in the day because it's like a lot more different.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I don't think I had that many problems. Maybe I would say like on stage solution, I guess. Maybe.
yeah, it was just the difference between like scrims to stage, right? Because I feel like since then we've seen such like really strong Lucian games from you.
Well, I just learned Lucian the wrong way, I will say. It's because
How?
I ended the game at 10 minutes with Lucian, and then I never learned how to actually play him. So that was probably the issue.
Too good.
Too good at laning on Lucian, and I completely clueless on how to play mid-game Lucian.
That's fair.
How does the team come into that though? Because like obviously with Lucian and a lot of bot lane picks actually that you're gonna kind of be rotating out that you want map pressure, especially if you're setting them mid to try to get like mid tier 1. What is that conversation like with your team, right? Because in my opinion, it's not just on you.
Like in game or?
Yeah, just like because that's a lane assignment thing too.
I just say, guys, do whatever you want. I can do whatever I want mid lane. It's chill. I'll try not to die. If I dash in, it's my fault. Good luck.
Yeah. On that topic, I think like the Lucian example is great because like correct me if I'm wrong, but like in scrims, everybody plays more loose, so like the fights are starting more randomly with like kind of just like everybody's fighting more often, but on stage people are way more tense. So like the Lucian, for example, actually has to like low-key engage and like taunt them and make space. But like in scrims, the fight was probably already starting, so you didn't have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. In spring 2023, where I like was really good at Lucian, I would say my jungler or like someone started the fight immediately without me doing anything. So
Yeah.
I actually had no like way to learn.
Yeah.
Like I was doing it wrong from the start.
Yeah, like I learned that with Ornn last week because like I was playing Ornn in scrims, and like I was just doing my thing, you know. But then on stage, like I need to be taking way more space in the slow like pre-fight poke. I need to like posture better, like, and I didn't learn that in scrims. So finally, playing the Ornn on stage now, I feel like I have better understanding about how to pull off that pick for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I will say on stage, it's like it's a lot less clear what is dangerous and what's safe. And I think people err on the side of playing really safe, but it's like because in scrims everyone just takes up more space, I think, and then like like there's also more inting and stuff. But then on stage people don't want to do that, so then there's like this usually like weird area on the map where like people aren't really sure whose it is a lot of the time, and then you just like someone walks there and then like maybe you engage on them or maybe you give it up, and that's just like goes from there.
Wrapping it up. Do you know when the LCS starts this week?
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Yes. So give the people a reason to watch LCS this Thursday and Friday.
I'm gonna destroy this guy.
Wow.
So you can tune into that.
We're still in the closet, right?
No, we're on stage.
we're
Yeah,
back
we're on
there?
the
We're
main
back
stage.
there?
We're
Okay,
back on main stage.
That's why we're
That's
Thursday,
why-
Friday.
Thursday,
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
You have a good reason to watch. We're on stage.
Yeah, we got the fans. Being in this stage for the matches today, I just found it really funny that people were still all chatting because it's like you're actually so close to your opponent that it's like like if you were just like in the room looking at them, it's like from me to that camera, and then it's just like like
Yeah,
you're so
it's
bad.
But the weirdest thing for me is when you take off your headset and it's so quiet.
Yes. I
was like,
It's so
whoa.
strange.
Yeah.
No, you got the white noise,
yeah,
and you're
with
like
crazy
pumped,
white
and you're
noise.
like you won the game.
Yeah,
You
you're
take
like,
that off, and it's
"Woo!"
just dead silent.
Yeah.
It's like
You're like, oh,
That
let me
was
be
weird.
quiet now. My bad, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just looking at it and you're like, that you beat because all of us wanted, like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have been so loud.
Yeah. All right. We'll have fans. It's going to be Thursday, Friday. We'll be loud. We'll bring the energy. Again, thank you so much, guys. This is a fun time.
thank you.
Peace out.
Bye.
See ya.
I'm just committing. Double kill.
Nice job, guys.
I'm flashing out. Yeah.
Holy.
They don't have smite. I don't have smite. I don't have smite.
Okay.
Can you hook him?
I'm ulting him right now. I didn't ult him. Oh. Sorry. I missed it.
Fine. Can you come here? One people? Please. Yeah.
I'm going.
I'm being on. Cassante has ulti. Looks this.
Watch me.
Big.
Nice.
The all in ult, he can't. Okay, just careful, Cassante.
I can base CP and we can end. I think we can.
16-5. FlyQuest rushes game 1.
I was on the flash.
Nice.
There we go, baby. We're back.
We're back, baby.
The card is no flash.
Yeah, I'm going behind them.
Careful.
Yeah,
careful.
he's dead. He should die. He should die. Karsus is up in 7. I'm basing Christian. Yeah, base and then we can do dash, I think. No! Close one.
I'm out. Bye.
That was not low, I think.
No, she was half.
Yo, people, don't get so excited in fights, please. Don't go forward like that. We were
Okay.
winning.
I'm coming right now. Tristana, no flash. I'm running.
No cleanse.
They're going just on me.
I gold carded the thingy, the Tristana, and the Kai'Sa. I'm winning.
Killing everyone.
Yeah, we can use wave.
I'm more bugging.
2 seconds on gold.
I killed it.
Pulling gold. Diana's golden. Diana's getting. Diana knows Anya.
She has no flash.
Rest in peace, brother.
Oh, look at B-Boy. He's looking handsome. They gotta look at your handsome face while they play.
Thank you. Yeah. You're so handsome.
Then here's me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Stroke that
Oh
beard.
yeah. That's a specialty.
Oh yeah. The specialty.
That's the specialty right there.
Yeah, he has. Yep. 1 HP. I'm jump. I'm okay. Go to Knowles. Okay. Good job. I need weekend 10.
I'm blocking. Yeah, I'm by.
Here, going.
Call, come here. Call that. I think kill Jaina first. Be good.
Cassante.
Cassante, don't place it.
We can end. Leave one and then move in.
Mid is kind of 1v1 right now. No, it's okay.
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll stay.
21.
Yeah, I'm fighting top.
I'm still looking.
I'm fighting Makai.
I'm just dead.
Control vision. I'm a Zara. Okay. We will live. You son? The flash. Run. Reactive. I'm on Zara. Yeah, we can go down. TP's on TP's, guys. Hey, look. In front.
And Core JJ, the burn still on Opti Sejuani, but the True Shot Barrage won't find him. The last couple of ticks, damage over time.
Here. I'm going. Keep going.
I'm going. Hey, friend, you there.
Lucian.
Trying to keep game 1 going, but the culling from Yawn does so much damage. He goes to the killing spree, and 100 Thieves, try as they might, will not withstand the tide from Team Liquid.
LCS a little bit of last week and also yesterday, but we had to show both of the TL wins because we have to get APA in an even better mood today.
True.
Currently, you're rooting for C9 to drop at least one
At least
game.
one game. Yeah.
So you're alone in first heading into the LCS
Yes.
break.
Hopefully for C9 2-1 today.
Yeah. But how have you been? How are you doing? We haven't gotten a chance to talk to you that much since MSI and also this kind of, I don't know, newfound swagger the Team Liquid has in the past 3 weeks.
So I'm definitely doing good. Scrims are going well. Obviously, we're smacking everyone around LCS right now. So not much to complain about.
Like, how has it felt? Because at least it's felt pretty quick. Like, from the regular season where you guys were improving, but nowhere near the level you guys were at, like when you went to playoffs, to MSI. Usually with teams that go through MSI, they have that immediate slump. How have you guys been able to shield yourselves from that?
I think we just have motivation to do well in LCS and like win LCS again and then do well at Worlds. So, I mean, to me, it's just the motivation that we could have done better at MSI is giving us so much more hope that if we improve like just a little bit, you know, we can take series off of the Eastern teams.
Did you guys take any break at all, by the way? It's not.
I took like a 3-day break.
Really relaxing.
I took like a 3-day break, getting used to the sleep schedule again, and then I was back in the office.
Is Dodo on you guys? Because from what we've been hearing from either articles or anything like that, you and Jan are troublesome from just grinding too much.
Yeah.
No, he's not on us. I think for now we're healthy.
Okay.
In our grinding activities.
Yeah.
But there have been times in the past and on boot camps where, we're playing for like 20 hours a day.
Oh my God.
Oof. What about your schedule now? I know you were telling us before. I just want the viewers to know what your daily routine is like and kind of what it takes to be a top team in the LCS.
I think for right now, we show up to the office at 10, scrim at 11. Normally we'll have like a meeting or like, just eat food, do normal stuff in the morning. Scrim 11 to 2, break for 30 minutes to an hour, and then scrim 3 to 6. Then it's kind of like solo queue practice from like 6 to 12. Sometimes I'll do 1v1 with Roamer or other mid laners.
And sometimes that's a night block too, which would be like 2 more scrims.
Yeah, and then most people stay to 1. I personally go to the gym at 12. I'm slacking so hard. But yeah, so like between 12 to 1 is when most people in the TL squad leave.
Yeah.
And then go to bed, and then we show up next day at 10.
What has been kind of the way to relieve that stress, or kind of like something that's therapeutic? Because you mentioned the gym. Like, is that your way of kind of like de-stressing throughout the day, or do you have something else?
I'd say for me, the gym is definitely what's de-stressing me. Sometimes you gotta run a few solo queue games down. That'll de-stress you.
That'll de-stress? Okay.
Sometimes you gotta drop some 10 deathers. But I mean, the days aren't the most stressful. I mean, we're still in regular season.
True.
We're doing very well in scrims. We're doing very well in regular season. So while there is still stress to being in season, it's not like playoff stress or like nowhere near international level stress.
Okay.
But you're still keeping motivated, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know Jet and I have talked about this off camera. We were kind of talking with you a bit about it before we came on, but like, how important do you think is that internal motivation, right? Especially trying to keep up, like you were talking about how much like Cream taught you, how much going up against T1 and G2 taught you, especially about like side lane control and like overall macro. How do you manage to keep that up when a lot of the times if you are grinding against NA teams, they are going to make mistakes that those teams wouldn't?
I think it's just, we actually do want to do really well at these international tournaments. And like I said, I think we were very close in our T1 series. We're not close at all in our top esports series, but yeah, I think it's just we have so much motivation that we want to like prove NA can do well. Like make quarters, make semis, maybe even make finals at Worlds.
What is the process of like trying to like retain that knowledge?
The thing is, we just have like super long, in-depth conversations within our teams. I'll talk with Impact about side lane a whole bunch. I'll talk with Core about like laning phase and then other things like that, and then like map sequences with Spawn or Core. We just have a lot of team conversations, and since we're all in the office for so long, we can just like at any random point through our solo queue practice, just like pull the other side and be like, hey, what do you think about this timing here?
Nice.
Actually, because I remember we had this conversation with JoJo after he went back from internationals, and he cited both Shahu and Faker and how he got better kind of playing selflessly.
Yeah.
Which player, after your time in MSI, and also Worlds, I guess through internationals, did you feel like shape your play style or kind of help you out after you're playing against them?
For me, like, the easy answer is just Caps. Like, we scrimmed G2 a whole bunch, and then I got the pleasure of being able to 1v1 him a whole bunch on a bunch of matchups that he helped me with and I helped him with.
Nice.
So he helped me a tremendous amount in lane, and then in like side laning aspects. Like Cream taught me a lot going into like after the top esports series.
Yeah.
Because he did a lot of things better than I did, and then I would say those two players predominantly taught me the most. Like obviously when we got to scrim against Chovy, if I was able to keep up in lane, he taught me some things. But certain games he would just completely run me in lane, and I'd look like a dog. But yeah, predominantly those two players taught me the most.
Perfect.
I like hearing about your relationship with G2 because as a caster or a fan, I see this big rivalry and hatred between Team Liquid and G2, but then whenever I hear anyone from TL talk about G2, it's like, yeah, we scrimmed against them a lot. We think they're a great org. We really enjoyed practicing against them. I'm like, man, they actually like each other.
Yeah.
It's wild.
No, they're great people. Like I did TikTok with Broken Blade. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we did like a jersey swap, like the entire team. That was fun. Yeah, I mean, nothing but respect to those guys.
Exactly.
Like, as much as I want to shit on Europe in international games, like, you know, they're good people.
Yeah, they're legit as well. So really nice catching up with you. You're going to be here at the West Waiting Room. You're going to be here between games. You're also casting one of the games in the Dig FlyQuest series, which is awesome. But we want to talk about some of the newcomers to the LCS, specifically this split, and kind of check in on how they're doing. Tomio, Quad, and Thanatos. We're going to start with Quad, who we're seeing today in a very high-pressure matchup against Jensen. But kind of what were the expectations for Quad, and how has he delivered on those expectations so far?
There's quite a bit of hype coming into the LCS for him because he, just from hearing from the NACL casters and the players and all that, he'd been smurfing at that time. He was playing a lot of control mages really well, specifically the Cassiopeia. And he, of course, was like grinding solo queue. So there's a lot that the organization was excited about, that the players were excited about. I don't think we've seen it just yet. I actually think one of the biggest critiquers of it has been you, APA. What is your thought?
I think he's a fraud. Jensen's better.
Yeah?
Even in scrims?
No, but that is...
I know there's a big difference, but obviously, like, what
Jensen's not exactly the best scrim guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a totally different player on stage. But is Quad similar, if you, like, in scrims to stage? Is it almost the inverse Jensen at this point?
I think Quad's better in scrims.
Yeah.
I think it felt like he was kind of scared on stage and just doing like really dumb mistakes. Like when I randomly solo code him mid lane.
Yeah.
And the first game I was just like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
But in all reality, I don't think he's that good. I think he's worse player than Jensen. You know, maybe top 4 at best.
What is something that you feel like, A, because you've played against him multiple times at this point, that you think he needs to improve upon? And what do you think is the difference between the two players? Because I know the team's been saying that he's different and is like more of a playmaker, communicative, but it's like it feels like a lot of the same play styles that Jensen has, Quad is.
They're very similar players.
Yeah.
I think Jensen's a better laner, and then I think his understanding of like mid-game sequences are just not as solid. Like there's multiple times in my series versus him where he would just randomly go down like 1,000 gold by giving me a turret in like 4 waves.
Yeah.
I was just like, Jensen would never do this to me. Jensen was never letting me get this lead on him.
Yeah.
So I'm not sold on the Quad hype train, but I am sold on the Jensen hype train.
Okay, there it is.
We'll see that in the second series today. Thanatos is another new one, probably the most hyped off-season acquisition. Emily, how do you feel about Thanatos so far?
I mean, I feel like, compared to the hype, which I think a lot of came from Chronicler, my friend, over as an LCK Challenger enjoyer, I think he's been fine. For my expectations, I think Thanatos is a really good, really strong player, but also with the problems that C9 were having in spring, I didn't necessarily think that bringing in Thanatos would change them in terms of what he brings as a player and his play style. It does look like he's fit on the team really well, though, and I actually, from what we've seen from him, I am looking for a little bit more, but I think that will also come as he spends more time with the team.
Yeah, I feel like he's gotten better in his first series, because in the first series that they had versus FlyQuest, like the first game was rough, but as time went on, I think he was connected to his team a lot better. And then just seeing him in solo queue is the most interesting thing, because like he would either have modes where he was spamming Skarner, because I guess like for the team, and there'd be times where he's like, never mind, just only playing range tops. So the Twisted Fates, the Veins of the world. So
Sometimes
I'm like, what is he going to show?
Vayne, he's just like doing some crazy stuff in solo queue, like 1v3 into your bot lane. I was just like, what is happening in this game? And then other times he's just kind of running it down in the Skarner. A very on and off player in solo queue.
That's what I would love to see from him, though, right? Because I feel like mechanically he is really strong.
Yeah.
So I would love to see C9 let him pull out some more of the range tops.
Like the Vayne top that Zeus is pulling out at MSI. It'd be sick to see that.
Speaking of the limit testing, actually I was watching one of Dokka's stream and he was playing against him in solo queue, and like he was doing really well on the Skarner pick, and then at some point he tried to dive and then completely threw his lane. So I was like, he's definitely a limit tester. That is for sure. So hopefully we get to see him connected more to the map, and maybe just seeing new picks. Whenever you see someone who's as talented as him and everyone's hyping up from his time when he was in the LCKCL, you're like, okay, let's put him on some carry picks and see where if they can play around him.
Another newcomer that is up against Thanatos today is Tomio.
Yes.
And I was so excited. Still am very excited for Tomio joining the LCS.
Don't throw in a butt.
The start from Shopify has not been great. I didn't say but. I just transitioned it.
Yeah, you did. That is correct.
With that, how does Tomio step it up? Because it feels to me like they've been on the back foot in every single game. I'm not sure how much of that is Tomio and not really understanding the difference in pace between scrims and stage, or if it's just Shopify struggling overall.
I have confidence in him. I've played against this guy so long in solo queue, and to me, this is his meta. You know, he's the king of like the AP junglers. You know, his Nidalee, his Lilia, stuff like that. So, to me, this is his meta where he can shine the most. And Sanity's a good player at having a whole bunch of champion picks to play 80 mids for him. So, even though I think their start so far has not been good, I think if there's any meta for Tomio to shine, it would be this meta.
Yeah, I was going to say, piggybacking a little bit, I'm not going to go in too hard on Shopify drafts, but I do think some of the drafting circumstances have been interesting, to say the least. And I would like to see them kind of stick to continuing to try out 80 mid AP jungle, because I do think it suits Tomio really well, and I agree that Insanity just has, I feel like people still see him as he picks the crazy stuff, but he just generally has a really, really big champ.
He can play 30, 40 champions in pro play. So.
Because in competitive, he's doing well, at least when he was playing in NACL, playing a lot of the Sejuanis, the Maokais, and all that. He can play both those styles. And you can probably speak to this a little bit, where if you are somebody that gets slotted onto a team that isn't performing, or just it depends on the surroundings around you. And especially as a jungler, it really depends on how your lanes are doing. So I hope that the community gives them more of a shot, because there's a lot more games to be played, and it's about how the team really gels around him.
And 2 weeks in a row, Team Liquid into C9, they are not getting the easiest starting schedule. But speaking of champion picks, we do want to look at the most present, or rather most OP picks around the world, and what the differences are between LCS, LEC, LCK, and LPL. One note, even though LPL has the most games, they have been playing Fearless, so it's going to change it a little bit.
That is a crazy game difference already.
It is a little bit of a crazy game difference.
LCS, 23 games. LPL, 126 games.
A little over 100 games, that's kind of crazy.
Skarner, 100% in LCS, LEC, LCK. LPL letting him through a little bit. But Raz, you were noticing, even in the LPL, Skarner's still winning?
Yeah, it's so funny, because you're right. LCK and LPL have much lesser ban rates for the Skarner, but his win rate in LCK is 64%, and then in LPL it was 57 last I checked. But they play games every day, so it's it always changes. So they're not doing too well with it so far.
I know even in the LCS, I think we were just the first team to even take down Skarner.
To even beat it once.
So I'm sure Skarner just has an insane win rate in the LCS. That champion's completely broken.
What do you think? Because a lot of people, we see Skarner and Rumble being 100% pick rate on LCS and LEC. Rumble has been the answer. What answer do you like the most seeing from just your times in scrims and stage?
Well, yesterday we had a 9-0 Mordekaiser in my game, walking around kind of
like
God.
that.
So I was a fan of Impact's Mordekaiser game. To me, I think it's kind of like the AP top laners, and then you pair them with an 80 mid, so you force Skarner to build a little bit of MR, and then you go side lane versus Tristana or Corki, and it's oh no, I have full MR, I have Merc Treads, I don't really want to play with this guy.
LCK Trist, LPL Corki. What's your verdict, Trist or Corki?
I'm a Tristana believer. To me, Tristana's the better 80 mid, and then Corki's just a little slight tier below.
I think also with LCK, somewhat with LPL, again, these are a little bit skewed because of the way that Fearless Draft works and how teams have been playing on it. But I also think it's interesting to not see the Corki trade, because even though we were seeing a lot more Triss Corki trade early on, we've now seen them adopting other mids. And additionally, I think there are a few mid laners in both LPL and LCK who do not seem nearly as comfortable on some of these 80 picks. I think Knight is one that I'd point out for LPL. And then BDD on my terrible KT roster struggling. I don't think
they're on a one-game winning streak, so.
They're on one series winning streak, and I guess a one-game winning streak.
I guess the best team too.
Sure, but I think that's one thing that you see is people trying to find other answers, like the Lucian. We've seen Quid here pull out the Ezreal. Which is interesting.
Still go to mages like Hui or Talia.
True. And then there's this one pick that I feel like has the biggest difference. You were pointing toward too.
Senna.
Senna, 95% pick rate, or just like presence rate in LCS.
And then she doesn't exist.
Doesn't
on the top
exist
5.
there, doesn't exist here. Like, because you guys have certainly must have had those conversations. Coming into this split, I thought Senna and Skarner would just be the most prio picks. Why is it falling off in other regions?
Well,
and why do you guys prioritize? Like, why do LCS teams prioritize it too?
Well, we don't really prioritize it that much.
Yeah.
But that's because I think we kind of suck at it. Like, just as a whole team, not Jan sucking at it or anything. I just, like, as a team-wide, we suck at it. But I think there's a lot of lane swapping shenanigans still going around the LCS. So that's personally why I see Senna. Like, you'll see Senna just, like, start laning top lane just with the top laner, and then you just have a tank in the bot lane. Or same thing a little bit in LCK. Like, Senna will just lane mid lane with ADC, and she'll just start taking play through your Tristana.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it for the champions. APA, while we have you here, we wanted you to do a tier list of mid laners, which I actually can't wait to see. You can do this over on the Telestrator. Just do the tier list and give us your thoughts, and we'll flame you if we feel necessary. But mostly, you take this. What do you think?
So I think I'll start with the obvious one. I'm the worst mid laner in the league.
Oh, my God.
Like, I'm completely being carried by Team Liquid. I have like terrible lane stats. Like, side laning is terrible. I'm just the worst.
You're just confirming everything that Reddit says.
Like, small champion pool, bad at lane. What else do they say about me?
Ooh, let's see.
Just throw it in there.
Okay,
I mean, compare Zig's game to his first game yesterday.
Yeah.
Zig's one trick.
Receding hairline, maybe.
Raz went there.
Okay, so then I'll start from the top then after we've located the worst player. I think JoJo's S tier. I think overall he's still a very solid laner. Sometimes has some mishaps in the mid game, but I think if I were to take anyone on like a sleeper team, JoJo would be my mid laner.
Fair enough.
I think next to me it's probably gonna be a clump of a couple people. Like I think Jensen's quite solid. I think Quid, MVP of last split, quite solid.
Yeah.
And then I think the next is kind of just, you gotta start flaming some people.
So those are the 2A tier. It's the rest are below that.
I think like JoJo's a little bit step above, but not like he can still lose to these guys in lane, but like overall I'd say he's better.
Yeah.
In terms of Jensen and Quid, what gives Jensen, like if you're leaving them in that order, what gives Jensen the edge for you between those two?
Well, I've mostly been basing it off last split because I haven't really faced them. I mean, like I said, I haven't faced Jensen yet on stage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, last split he was just insane laner. Like he would always be super quietly getting 10, 15 CS lead, getting EXP lead, getting maybe getting a couple plates. And then Quid was similar, but he had very strong skirmish sense with him and River.
Okay.
So I think that's where a lot of Quid's strength comes in. Like him and River are very, very strong mid jungle duo. Yeah, going on next, I think Mask is actually a sleeper pick that not many people talk about because I don't think people think Immortals is that good. I don't think they're that good either.
Yeah.
But I think overall, Mask is actually a very solid laner. He can get very solid leads. And whenever you check that guy, like CS scores, he's always just like Chovine, dropping like 12 CS per minute.
Yeah, his last series, even though he lost on that one, his Corki was like well above perfect CS.
Yeah. So he's always doing solid. I think he's a very solid laner. Can improve in some things, but I don't know how many things are like his fault. It's hard to look good on a bad team, and he's looking good.
Yeah.
I think next it's like Quad.
Okay.
Fraud.
B tier fraud? Okay, you still got
fraud.
Insanity Palafox. We got to go a little fast on the last 3.
Okay, so I think tier is probably where I'd put them.
Fair enough.
They had a good showing, I feel like, last split or last year. What do you think has happened to like just both of those players?
Well, I don't think Insanity was ever really that good.
Okay.
I think he just had a few unique picks that people were hyping up. I'm not too sold on him. And then for Palafox, I think he used to be like S tier last year. And then just slowly over the year, I don't know, either like it's a team thing or like his thing, he's just slowly feel like he's just gotten worse.
Right.
And then the worst player here.
Of course.
Worst man in the league, making the tier list. Thank you, APA. Really enjoyed your thoughts and tier list. We have only 5 minutes left before Shopify and Cloud9. And one thing that we've been asking pretty much ever since C9 lost their second game of Spring Split is if they're back to their first game when everyone thought they were going to just run the LCS. So are C9 back, basically?
Yes, I think they're back. I think I know that there's a few things that they've been working towards, specifically like Thanatos, like getting comfortable in the team, but their team play, I think, has gotten significantly better than last split.
Yeah, and I think that starts with Blabber and JoJo, right? I'm not saying they are, as a mid-jungle, are where they would probably want to be, but one thing I noticed in spring with them working together is it seemed like they would both do their own thing, right? Like JoJo would win lane on his own, or Blabber would do his own thing, and I feel like this split, especially with the way that Vulcan has also been roaming on the map as well.
more of a unit,
I think,
for sure.
yeah, that was from before. We have some rough highlights and then some better ones from summer. But I think this is the big thing for me, because when we looked at this roster, we were like, okay, not only is this just a good roster, but also we want to see Blabber and JoJo being able to work together in a lot of these team fights, in getting early advantages, in making the most of laning advantages. And I feel like we've seen that so much more this split than last split.
I love the point that you made. Does feel like this is a great meta for them, specifically like, you know, hard engaged champions for Vulcan. Zeri's back in the meta and actually having increased play rate and win rate right now. So like we're seeing that being picked up for them. So you're right. Just looking at the stats between both JoJo and Blabber, that it feels like they have just been better. But also I think that bot lane, which was kind of under a microscope last split, has just gotten better within the laning phase. So a lot's been happening.
I think overall, just their like entire team is more consistent. Like we saw last split. We saw last split that they would just like randomly lose, like saw on screens a little bit ago, like Shopify to some like the kind of bad teams in the league.
Yeah.
And now, even though I don't think they faced the best teams, like they faced Dig, I think, and then they faced Shopify today. But I think overall, like from what I've seen, they've been more consistent as a team, rather than just like, you know, they're on top of the world, they're smacking around everyone, and then just like randomly losing games to Asan mid.
And for Shopify, B-Boy was the standout player for them in the spring. Hasn't necessarily had the same standout performance here in summer. A lot of factors will go into this, but he was such a powerhouse in spring, it felt like. Really hasn't, in the 2 series, been able to show up here yet in summer.
It's interesting because I think we just need to see like more sample size, just because their first couple games haven't been doing well as a team, and the first objective they play doesn't really feel like, it just puts him behind. So I still have a lot of faith in them as an individual player, and I think we'll see better days from them. And they got 2-week break.
They will.
There's a lot they can work on.
If they don't win today, the 0-3 is tough, but they'll have a lot of time to improve. And Raz, you caught up with both coaches ahead of today's series.
What's up, guys? I've got Revan here, coach of Shopify Rebellion. I've got Reaper here, coach of Cloud9. For you, Revan, how's it feel going up against your former team? You guys won a championship in NACL with Fake God, you, Tomio, and Zazel. Just like, how does that feel for you?
Going up against Cloud9 is always exciting, not only because they're my ex-team, but they're just the premier org in NA. So going up against them, having a chance to beat them will always be a hope of mine going into the game.
Sounds good. And also, just off the back of that, you guys have this 2-week break. I know last time I spoke to you, you wanted to talk about just working on the fundamentals. Now you got the time to do it. Like, what's the thought process going into that?
Even in spring, although it didn't really show as much on stage as we would have hoped for, we had significant progress last split in the factors of working on fundamentals. We're hoping that we will be able to do that in summer as well.
Sweet. And for Reaper, I know you weren't on the team last split, but the biggest kind of story point for that team was great individual players, but not really working well as a team. Coming into this split, it feels like that has gotten a lot better. What's something that you and the team has kind of worked on to improve on that?
Actually, if you see our team works well as a team, that's quite wrong. We are we are still developing individuals more than the team stuff, because 5 great individuals are sticking together. That makes a great team. That's what I believe. So we are developing the individuals and then some sort of the team things. But yeah, that's how it goes.
To follow up on that one, Thanatos is a new addition, of course, also first time in a Tier 1 league. What's something that you've seen that he's developed on the most?
I don't know, man. I've seen him like in scrims. He never losing his lane, so he win every single lanes.
All right, let's see if that continues today. Good luck on the games today, guys. Send it back to you.
Thanks for that, Raz. We're going to pull up predictions right now.
Okay.
Are there any
Surprise.
Shopify believers?
Any believers? Even Discord?
No.
Not today. But that's usually when Shopify is the most dangerous.
True.
Yeah.
That's it from us here at the Lounge. Let's get into the games.
If you guys wanna trash talk, be as good as this guy.
I run this league. I'm just so happy to be here, you know.
The best part of the LCS, the glory that comes with it when you win.
Welcome back to week 3 of the LCS, y'all. Later today, it's the grudge match we've been waiting for all split long. These ex-teammates have a score to settle on the rift. It's Jensen versus Inspired, Dignitas versus FlyQuest. But first, it's a Shopify roster looking for their first win versus a Cloud9 squad on the journey to become the super team we were promised in spring. Hola, what's up, y'all? My name is Rafa. I'm joined once again by Kobe on the cast for our first series of the day. And as Revan mentioned, you know, this series means a lot. It always is a pleasure for him to play against his ex-team, as he and 3 other teammates from Shopify were from that Cloud9 Challenger squad that won NACL in spring 2023.
Fun little matchup here from some ex-Cloud9 organizational members. And immediately, we are into the draft and immediately into an insta-lock on Zeri, which means that they will presumably give up the Corki here. Tristana banned out by Shopify. Corki still available. Cloud9 could go grab that one for JoJo really early on. Very strong mid laner, of course. Everybody very well acquainted with that one right now. And you can have such a strong lane phase if you pair it with one of Blabber's AP turbo farming junglers here. So I think that's the route they're going to go.
And we have seen the evolution of priority for AP junglers shift. A lot of junglers were on the Nidalee train, but now seeing the obvious power of Zyra rise up in the jungle, she has become the premier choice for all of her junglers here in the LCS.
I mean, this is kind of expected, and that's why I was thinking it's kind of risky for Shopify. They invested so much in this Zeri, the slamming the first pick Zeri, giving over a double whammy pick of the Corki plus the Zyra here. The Lucian now has been played a couple of times as the Lucian mid, getting more and more popular, really coming back into its own. And so I'm very excited to see Insanity on it, because Insanity has been one of the mid laners that has always trended towards having a very deep and wide champion pool. So he thinks that he's really going to be able to make use of Lucian's mobility to dodge out on Corki's Qs. The nerfs to Corki, especially for the mid lane, were the reductions in Gatling gun and all the damage going into the Q. So maybe that extra mobility will allow him to win the lane.
Yep, before we roll out the second series of bans in this draft, we're going to toss it over to Tomo to see how much he really wants to beat his former org.
I'm looking forward to play against C9. I was under C9 in 2023, and I like to work alongside Blabber, and I always talk to him, and I'd say it would be very fun to actually verse him in a match.
Tomio was originally with the Evil Geniuses org before a trade of Shaden for Tomio landed the jungler for Cloud9's Challenger roster going into spring. And for Shopify Rebellion, this is a change of pace. We're seeing Tomio being given the Maokai, unless it gets role swap to support, of course. But this would be more focused on playing for lane, the success of trying to build up something like this Lucian mid. Because the last time I saw Insanity play this pick was during the TSM days with Boogie, if you remember that 2v1 early dive in the mid lane.
And now as we catch up on the bans here after our little video, the one to follow the Kai'Sa here, still whittling it down, is actually going to be a protection ban. So they want to protect Fake God here, allow Fake God to pick another frontliner, taking away the Twisted Fate to open up some easier options for him. But Renekton is still up, and Thanatos has been very happy to slam these Renekton picks regardless.
Now, I'm curious here, Kobe. They have not shown the AD carry pick for Berserker. The thing is, this Corki could still be flexed towards bot lane. I know Berserker put his time into the Corki games during the offseason. We got a little taste of it during their show match against Fear X or Fox during their offseason. I wonder if that's what Cloud9 is trying to hide and getting a more advantageous pick into the Lucian mid.
We'll see, depending on support lock in here for Shopify, for Zeyzal. Zeyzal's been a player that people have always talked about. He has such good sense for the game, but not necessarily the best mechanics in lane.
Sure.
So we'll see if they want to try and punish that on the bottom side, and they might. If it's going to be a lock-in with Draven, then they definitely will. Draven Nautilus would be a massive kill lane here for Cloud9. They have always had faith in Berserker. Looks like they're not going to go for the kill lane, but Ezreal right now, always a very good pick into it with the extra range, with the poke possibilities.
Shifting it around, we'll wait and see until the 20-second mark if JoJo's going to try to steal some of Quid's little flair with the Ezreal mid, or if he will just stick with the Corki. But as you said, committing to something like an Ezreal gives him the safety and the range, which then unlocks Vulcan to look for those roams early on in the game, which is what gave Cloud9 a lot of their success against Immortals last week.
And this is going to be one of our classic matchups where it's going to be the extra poke range for Cloud9 with the Corki, Zyra, and Ezreal, matched up against, can you avoid the engage of a Maokai Rakan? Some of the best engage in the entire game with the width of a Maokai ultimate and the speed of a Rakan engage. As long as they can avoid that, or at the very least get some nice poke damage down first, then they've set themselves up with a pretty good setup here. I think I'm kind of favoring the Reapered side, unless there is something where Insanity on this Lucian is able to win some early trades by dashing away out of the Corki Foss Bomb and being able to get some mid pressure there. I think Cloud9 here have a pretty good setup.
That's right. Well, the drafts are set. The gamers are about to load into the map. Let's hit the riff for Game 1 between Shopify Rebellion and Cloud9. Level 1 has begun. Cloud9 with Vulcan trying to get into the river here, but doesn't seem like any real level 1 shenanigans will happen. Everyone taking that 5-man posture.
Honestly, don't think there should be anything too crazy, and Blabber should probably head on over to his camp so you can start spawning more seeds. Zyra always does benefit a little bit extra if you're able to just wait around your quadrant of the jungle that you are starting in. Trying to get some more of those passive seed spawns just to speed up the clear, even just a tiny bit, always does help when you're trying to race down towards the bottom side of the map here.
Vulcan going for a little bit of a delayed invade, trying to see if they can get any vision down, but they don't actually end up putting any wards in. Before the game gets too carried away, I want to remind people that while Shopify Rebellion having a 0-4 start to the beginning of the summer split, this was the team that did begin the pillar of dominoes for Cloud9 to fall during the spring split. They were one of the first teams that knocked what we believed was going to be the power ranked first team, just easily rolling through all the other teams during the spring split. And Shopify, I mean, they were the first ones to upset them.
There was a moment in time where people were referring to this Shopify team as the Blue Shell team because they would only beat very, very strong teams and they were losing to basically everybody else. So always have to keep that in mind. And we have the immediate level 2 jump in from Insanity, trying to take advantage early on like we talked about here with the Lucian. Goes for the trade onto JoJo. Nice piercing light through the minions there, gets a tiny bit of extra damage. We'll have to see if there's any sort of early visit from a Maokai as well, and Insanity keeps it up.
Does he want to flash for the auto attack? The piercing light through the minions. Well played by Insanity, and that forces JoJo's flash.
And that's what you have to do when you go for this pick here with the Lucian, trying to get the early advantages, and he succeeds. So some positives here for Shopify, who have had a very rough start to Summer Split, and they have been pretty unhappy about their slow start, but Insanity burning the flash from Corki. Now I'm saying, Maokai better come over mid lane. You better instantly come over. Tomio with flash, the Maokai is basically guaranteed to get onto Corki. Jojo has to be very conservative with his W now to remain very safe and have to give a lot more respect to Insanity. Blabber, meanwhile, over the ward.
Shopify will see that Blabber is here for the dive thanks to that ward in the tri-bush. And because Tomio has already passed to the bottom side of the map, he's still not level 4 yet. Blabber and Vulcan might bully him off of this Krug, denying him that level up. But the fact that Tomio is here ensures that Cloud9 cannot continue the dive. It does suck for Tomio, thankfully for him. Because he's playing that Maokai, he is playing that utility role this game, and he just needs to be there to make sure that his lanes don't fall disastrously behind.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal right now because you deny the level 4 as well, with stealing away enough of the Krug camp here. So it makes it a very, very dangerous when enemies have bot prio. Nautilus gets to roam along with the Zyra having the level advantage. So he's just making a rush for that crab, doesn't want to get double crabbed, has his smite, and should be able to get it.
Oh my god, everyone's closing in. Thanatos has the left flank on the pincer, the flash from Tomio trying to escape, but Vulcan has the CC to lock him down. Everyone goes for the jungler, and first blood goes to Cloud9.
Yeah, you can see it coming. As a jungler, you know, you're like, I don't want to get double crabbed, you just kicked me off my Krugs, but you really got to respect the rest of the team roaming. This is Blabber's bread and butter gameplay. Blabber's Crabbers are not going to let you get away with that, Tomio. They punish in Cloud9 with the first blood.
Zazel might look for the flash, grand entrance, not quite. Jojo Valkyrie's away. That's so disappointing though for Tomio, because you get this flash timer on Jojo Pion in the mid lane, and you imagine that, hey, I want to save flash twisted advance to set up the kill for mid lane. He was forced to use the flash trying to escape while getting the crab. I feel like if you know that you're greeting for that crab, I don't know, maybe you save the flash and try to look for a guaranteed play, because now you're looking for either Jojo Pion to overextend in mid lane to make that gank happen.
I mean, there's a lot of times when you're really frustrated as a jungler when you're getting kind of pushed out, but you really have to respect the roam timers, and also calling that top side is gone. Thanatos was able to move over through river plenty of time, walking all the way down the river, and so huge punish because, yeah, the lone bright spot, the early mid lane summoner spell advantage now becomes much more difficult to actually convert into gold value. So we will see, though, Cloud9, if they are able to keep this up, if they are able to transition this into some dragons. I assume that they're going to try and use bot prow here to be able to go start this one up. But it looks like they've got Blabber going to top side of the map since it's grubby time.
Yep.
Grab your grubbies first. They're way easier. Zyra can just annihilate those things. Only takes a few seconds, and then you can head back down to the other half of the map.
Insanity just trying to tank up this wave. Zazel forced to roam mid lane since Vulcan is already here first, guaranteeing that Jojo Pion can get the first wave push in. That guarantees and set up prio for the grubbies, and now Blabber should get the full rotation.
Yeah, it's a problem here for Shopify trying to answer that it's a Mountain Drake. Those are pretty tanky and take a lot longer to kill than all the other dragons. It's by far the tankiest, and so they actually don't try and answer the grubs with the objective answer immediately, and they go for deeper vision first. Jojo barely does escape from the knock up here, but it's been a very delayed start on the dragon, so I want to see if Cloud9 are going to try and counter.
I mean, they have push from B-Void this time on the bottom side of the map, but Blabber is running on over. Zazel will block the entrance through the lime brush, but yeah, they got to be careful. This is a very fed Zyra. If he wants to pop the Stranglethorns with the plants, it's going to be a lot of damage. Zazel forced the flash. Insanity not needing to pop the summoner spell. B-Boy is there first, so he can push Vulcan out of the river, but they lose the dragon tempo.
Yeah, pretty big bot difference in the roam because B-Boy actually being there was a lot more pressure, and so they do kind of chase him out of the river, and Blabber goes back to the top side to steal the blue buff instead. A lot of health bars exchanged here, but still Shopify come out worse for the wear, and Blabber's able to...
Oh, he smited it over
nice
the wall.
job. Barely gets vision, puts the ward down. Really, really needed that one because Tomio would be crying. It's almost a full level advantage here for Blabber. If Blabber had been able to finish off that blue and Toby did not secure that one, then it would be the full extra level there.
That would have been extreme psychic damage if he doesn't get that blue buff. But
Tomio, though, still very close to level 6, so maybe he's going to be able to use ultimate here to try and forge a comeback for Shopify. Problem is, it's quickly getting out of reach.
Yeah, the gold lead, just off of 1 kill, is nearing that 2,000 mark. And normally, with a team of Cloud9's caliber against a team like Shopify, who are still struggling to kind of translate what they're finding in scrims onto the stage, it's even tougher to try and come back from the state. All in potentially from Jojo Pyun as he just goes in for the Valkyrie. Culling opened up by Insanity, looking for extra pick of damage here. Jojo's just chunked to about 50% HP, but he's got pots.
All right, next critical thing to look for is the push on the next minion wave here for bottom lane because everybody is coming down for possible dragon setup. Blabber here on the Zyra has his ultimate back and available. Cooldown has turned around from that early play, and so they are ready and willing to use it. Bot prio achieved, so they can move on over to the dragon.
And Thanatos is just getting solo plates by himself. Fake God struggling under the tower to hold this Renekton off. As Thanatos is now going to take the timer to back away. No teleports for either of these top laners, so no possible fight for the dragon from them.
Yeah, nice job here by Cloud9 clearing out all the vision through the setup here too. It's so hard for Shopify to face check, so all they do, clear out the vision, go for their resets once again, and Thanatos gets another turret plate up here. This Renekton is the biggest gold lead on the whole map. Off the first kill, onto Tomio, using that first blood to really good use up there and getting so many turret plates as well. I mean, Thanatos looking great so far.
And Cloud9 are doing such a great job of playing around this mid lane as well. Even though Jojo lost that flash early on to Insanity, the prio gained from bot lane, the prio gained from top lane allowed them to always be the first ones to collapse into the river. Zazel, is he in trouble? Oh, the grand entrance was interrupted and he doesn't have flash from before. The ignite is ticking down. True shot barrage from downtown. Berserker gifts himself a kill.
The sniper from downtown. Berserker's been off camera for the majority of this game because it's been Vulcan roaming and Berserker's just been farming and throwing his ultimate out to these little skirmishes. But the Ezreal's gonna be a problem. You know, this thing, the reason it started to get so much more priority in pro play are all these extra buffs in the last few patches, the ultimate doing more damage is really relevant. And so Dragon easily picked up here by Cloud9. It does seem like this one is gonna be pretty smooth sailing for them. Already over 2.5K the gold lead. Jojo teleports right back out.
And he Valkyries forward just to force Insanity off the wave. They get first push on it, and they're already fading into the second rotation of Grubs. I mean, Shopify Rebellion, I don't think they're going to get a single neutral objective this game at this pace.
They kind of have to now start to pray that B-Boy is going to be able to get some extra money.
Okay, Fake God bringing Thanatos under the tower, and it gets the flash out of the Renekton, but he's got to teleport so he can get a recall and just look to join the top lane side again.
Yeah, and it is going to still cost them the full 6 grubs. Cloud9 still have full supremacy over all of the neutral objectives of this game, including the extra gold lead. So let's see about the comeback plays from Shopify. They got to figure out a way to get some money on Zeri, because if they're going to be praying to the B-Voy God here for their big comeback play, he's going to need some items to do it, and right now he might need a little bit of help to actually get those.
Tomio is hovering right below Insanity, and Jojo Pyun has the ulti available. Jojo still with the flash, pushing out this wave. Zazel now arrived.
Jojo has flash,
yeah.
So not going to be able to get anything here. He's just hovering up to his top side. You always want to play to your wards that you see right up there, so pretty easy stuff for Jojo, positioning top half of the map. That's where Blabber is, that's where his wards are. No way that Shopify are going to be able to get him on that pass, but they got to keep trying, got to keep looking for these little surprise plays.
It's definitely looking very tough for Shopify right now. You can see that there are moments when they want to make proactive plays, but either they don't have enough information on where everyone else is on the map, so they're too scared to go forward and actually just take a risk on that. But at some point, I mean, when does Shopify need to start gambling? They need to lower the risk tolerance and just say, hey, if we don't do anything proactive now, Cloud9 are just going to run away with the game.
Yeah, probably wait for 1 item power spikes and at least get a single item there for Zeri. Go for something, maybe get your Leandries on the Maokai too. Hope that that's going to be enough. Usually when you're so far behind in an early game like this, if you aim for your first item, as long as you are not down a full item and the enemies don't have a full 2 by the time you get your first one, then you can hope for your first little window for comeback plays there and play off your single item power spikes while your opponents are on 1+ pieces.
Yeah, well, Tomio has completed the Leandry's Torment, so he can now start setting up those saplings, and that's really strong objective control, and at least making sure that Cloud9 are going to have a more difficult time of trying to get into these choke points, setting up for objective. As long as Tomio is the first one there, Insanity also with the Kraken Slayer, it's pretty much up to these two guys. If they can find a 2v1 pick, maybe a 2v2 on some of the squishier members of Cloud9, maybe there's a chance, but still, the wallet diff already has climbed to 3,000 under 14 minutes.
Yeah, putting up some nice defensive wards around the map can help sometimes, because Zyra is definitely a champ that you can pop very quickly, but Glaber is so far ahead, it's really difficult, especially with the extra harassment coming in. At least Tomio does secure that one, I believe.
Yep.
Securing the Gromp for himself, but it does seem like it's going to be really hard to fight the Rift Herald.
For what it's worth, Tomio's not even that far behind in gold. It looks a lot just from the CS numbers. He's only down 800 gold. Zazel's going to pull the trigger, looking for Glaber. He forces the flash. Vulcan trying to buy as much time as he can. True Shot Barrage from downtown forces Tomio to flash away. Insanity trying to get back into the fight alongside B-Boy. The dredge line connects. B-Boy popping the barrier, frontlining. Berserker's now the first one in as well. And Shopify Rebellion don't drop a man, but they're the ones that lose the fight.
Yeah, health bars are too low, so now fighting the Rift Herald is 0% chance for them. Cloud9 will secure another objective. Also securing the double push on mid here with the 6 Void Grubs. The mid turret is toast.
First brick going over to Cloud9, accelerating that gold lead to almost just shy of 4,000 for them. And Thanatos has the pressure of his comrades in the river. They can look for a second tier 1 on the top side against Fake God. There it goes. This is becoming really dire for Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, I mean, Thanatos with the Black Cleaver rush here too, trying to shred through this Thorn Mail of Fake God, not having any problems so far this game. The whole top tower is just gone now. Honestly, it's pretty easy. He's got his teleport up as well, so he can just head on down to the Dragon, secure the objective for the team, and still have his teleport up for later. So, Rafi, you opened up the story at the beginning of this series of 3 of these members, 4 if you include the coach as well for Shopify, of being former Cloud9 challenger players / coach for themselves, including Revan. And it really does feel like this game is kind of that older brother, younger brother situation so far, with the Shopify former challenger members on their side having a rough start to this one, and Cloud9 really making it look like this will be a clean one. You know, we've had Cloud9 victories in summer.
Yeah.
They are 2-0 for their series, but some of them have had quite a few throws, some happy moments, a little bit of fun gameplay. Do you foresee some fun gameplay coming in here, or do you think this is going to be a clean finish? Because to me, this is a full clean finish, almost a sweep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal for Cloud9 at this point, with how clean the first 16 minutes of the game has gone so far, I want to see how well Cloud9 can aim towards a perfect game. Not giving up a single turret, not giving up a single objective, not giving up a single death. Because then Cloud9 can join the ranks of Team Liquid, who are
that top tower. I'm eyeballing the top tower objective bounty.
He's TPing back to it.
Thanatos is like, nope, keep your hands off that tower. They're looking for the perfect game still. Defend, defend, defend. I mean, it's also important about the extra money.
Insanity doesn't have flash from before. Thanatos has the flash advantage over on top of him. He flashes in place. Thanatos with the slice and dice takes out Insanity.
Yep, keep your hands off of that objective bounty gold. Thanatos with the teleport and flash invested to put Insanity back in the fountain. All right, next steps here will be the reset for Cloud9 because they just got a bunch of money, so you need to spend your money and then come back out to continue to deny Shopify. We don't need to go over this replay because it is pretty straightforward. As you mentioned, the only key part there that possibly would have given him an out would have been if he still had flash, but yeah, of course he did not, so dead and dusted.
Cloud9 taking full stock of where everyone's summoner spells are. Yep, Croc. Definitely. I'm with you on that
chat?
one.
I know exactly. I can picture the chat now.
I mean, Thanatos has been completely steamrolling the top side of the map since level 1, getting all 5 plates really by himself. A little bit thanks to the hover and pressure from Blabber and Vulcan roaming to the top side of the map, but it has been a self-sufficient advantage that he's built up. And when a Renekton starts snowballing like this, the squishy marksmen that Shopify Rebellion have for themselves stand no chance.
Yeah, I'm actually going to open up the chat right now. Let's just take a look here.
Everyone say hi, Kobe.
Put a number in chat, which is going to be the percentage chance that you think Shopify have to come back in this game. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we'll calculate that and then we'll get back because we're almost 20 minutes, Rafa, so that at least should be a fun moment. With Zyra, you can do 20-minute Barons even if you aren't this far ahead.
Yeah.
If your opponents do not come check because of the power of the plants, popping your ultimate on your plants, turbo juicing them, allows for some extremely quick Baron takes and double Trinity Force users here on the side of Cloud9. They should be able to burn it down very quickly. So I'm assuming here for Cloud9, you should get some nice resets. And honestly, if they wanted to speed run it, they would just set up their wards in the blue quadrant of Shopify's jungle leading up to the Baron and then rush down the Baron.
Oh,
but we're still a full minute ahead, so they're going to take the secondary tower first before going for the reset.
So Shopify will deny the perfect game from Cloud9. Jojo was defending the tier 1 on the top side of the map, but he saw the rotation and the collapse from the rest of Shopify's squad, teleporting the mid lane so he could get out and not be forced to burn anything else, including his flash or his life. But they're going to get this push in the mid lane, and this will set up the priority necessary for that Baron.
So I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but looking at chat, the most common answers are 0.
Damn.
And, can you guess the other? 69. So
get your mind out of the gutter, chat.
Good luck, Shopify. They've got a 69% chance to win this game. And they denied the perfect game as well. They got the top tower.
Yep. Shopify, at least, will have taken 1 turret for themselves. And at this point in the game, it's an objective bounty, so nice surplus of gold back into the pockets. Unfortunately for them, it's still a 6,000 gold advantage from Cloud9. And one of the things that we wanted to see from this squad, from their spring split record, is, well, yes, as Reaper mentioned on the interview, these are 5 strong, very individual players, but trying to put them together and making sure that they are on the same page has been the challenge. So far, you know, if you wanted to go up against one of the bottom teams in the league, this is the performance you need to be showing and aiming for.
Yeah, it definitely is disheartening for Shopify, but by the same token, like you're talking about, you then turn your eyes towards how cleanly can Cloud9 finish a game.
Yep.
Because there has been some scrutiny as far as you know, some of the generous plays that they have made towards their opponents, and some of the that hook barely misses, so Tomio does get to live for now, and we are approaching the Baron bait moments here for Cloud9. They do have possibilities of turning, but C9 clear out that ward, and then they've got the possibilities. Wait a second, Dragon is also up. Do they care at all about playing it safer and going to get Dragon first? Or do they want to just keep forcing here? Looks like they want to stick around.
I mean, Cloud9 are maintaining control of the Baron pit, so in my mind, it seems like they could care less if Shopify managed to sneak the Dragon.
I mean, they don't think that they're going to have to get Soul to win this game, I think, for Cloud9. They're like, our timeline does not include a Dragon Soul. They're just going to keep the split push for Thanatos on bottom side and keep the pressure on Baron.
I mean, for Cloud9, you could pretty much end the game before Dragon Soul is even an option for either team. And now that Cloud9 have waited long enough and bullied Shopify from the entrance, they're going to now turn towards the Baron. And look at the force, as you already mentioned, turbo juicing the plants. The Thorn Spitters are all tearing it down. Blabber secures it, and now here comes the engage. Tomio is in trouble as he already flashed away. Thank God finds one on the Vulcan, and now Cloud9. You just have to full bail. Preserve the Baron buff on as many members as possible, and Shopify Rebellion are trying to fish for any more kills, but they only get the one.
One is better than none, though, so they're happy to get a tiny bit of gold, even though Cloud9 do get the Baron and will get the Dragon as well, and soon they will be marching towards your base. At least Shopify were able to get the one kill onto Vulcan, get a tiny bit of cash for themselves. But yeah, they're probably already thinking about what changes can we make for the next game. This is a best of 3. This is a full series here. Really trying to focus on what we can do to make this one competitive. Muramana transformations as well had come in here for JoJo and Berserker, so Cloud9 will come with the Baron. Start knocking on the Shopify doorstep here as we get Thanatos up to the top side, shoving top side, and the rest of the squad here will be able to push mid and then rotate on up to him.
Yeah. 7,000 gold difference at 23 minutes into the game. It is
substantial.
Yeah, that's a big number. I'll give them that. Cloud9, I mean, they have the tools necessary still with Baron buff on multiple members to push in through multiple lanes. Thanatos, because he doesn't have teleport anymore, will be joining the ranks of the team on this top push. And it's just JoJo and Thanatos curating the waves into both of these side lanes here. And Blabber and Berserker and Vulcan have the option of shifting to either lane as now they begin the siege.
Yeah, it's really hard for Shopify because not only are they so far behind, but they're also outranged due to the poke that we talked about in Champ Select.
Looking for a pick. I mean, Tomio pulls the trigger. It gets flash out of JoJo, but now he's too far away to be jumped on. That is one timer that Shopify can maybe play for in an upcoming fight.
All right. Inhibitor's going to go down probably for sure here as JoJo comes to support the rest of the team, and then they go for a hook.
Oh, nice anchor onto Zazel, and he was the other only initiation from Shopify that is now taken out of the fight. There's no Nature's Grasp for Tomio, so it's just up to Shopify to step up and try to defend the towers with their faces, but their faces are not strong enough to withstand Cloud9's might. The first Nexus tower will fall, Tomio is returned to the fountain, and the rest of Cloud9's backline will continue the pain. Game 1 in dominant fashion taken by Cloud9.
Woo! Wowee! You can't take away any points from Cloud9 for that one. That was complete and utter domination by Cloud9. I saw most of the signs in the audience were for Cloud9 as well.
Yeah.
Not surprising, they're also super popular, but those fans are definitely going to be happy with that one. Sometimes you want to see a little bit more of a struggle, though. So then we'll see if game number 2 will have more of a struggle.
It definitely does make the game more exciting for, either side if it's more competitive. But as a Cloud9 fan, you definitely want to see the most clean games against the bottom teams in the standings so that they're ready when they face top teams like Team Liquid and FlyQuest. But LCS fans, Fantasy LCS is happening on Sleeper. It's not too late to sign up and start a league with your friends, then crush their dreams with your own LCS super team. You can head on over to sleeper.com or sleeper.app to give it a try. And with that, we're going to toss it on over to the lounge to break that game down.
Welcome back to the lounge. A quick reminder, the LCS returns on Saturday, July 20th for Dig versus TL. Make sure to tune in. One person's going to be there is APA, TL mid laner, and he is here to break down some of the early laning between Lucian and Corki.
I know that game was not the most inspiring from Shopify, but if you are a Shopify fan, I think the early lane from Insanity was actually very good. You can see he starts off by just landing a nice cheeky Q, and you can see throughout the entirety of this lane, I'll click on him, every time he has Q, he just lands it. He's just very good at weaving in those Qs in this lane. Played the first few levels very, very well. So, like I said, it wasn't the most amount of hope, another Q, but Insanity is a small glimmer they had this game. And then he finds for level 2, lands another Q, and then he dashes forward, gets the extra PTA proc, and now JoJo's lane is very, very hard. If he finds one more Q in the game, which he just did, now JoJo's really messed up, dashes over the Corki Q, and he's forced out of lane. And then most players, probably me included, would flash for an auto and go 1-for-1, which is not that good, so you can see the wave. But Insanity played really well. He lines up this Q and forces JoJo's flash. So you don't get the kill, but you end up just getting a massive CS lead in the first few waves of the game. You know, he's at 16, Jojo's at 6. I think he ends up at like 12 by the end of this.
And since we have time, you had a lot to say about kind of the scuttle crab incident. Yeah, which is kind of, obviously, Insanity had this really good laning phase. As we're seeing, C9 did end up invading with the Zyra off of her clear on the spot side, and then decided to go for the double scuttle, kind of sprinting up through mid lane. So if you want to fast forward a bit.
I think an important thing to note on this Krug timing here is Blabber smited the big Krug.
Yep.
So Tomio actually does have smite advantage up. So even though Blabber is so easily able to get this crab, most junglers here will try to ruin the game for this crab. But I think what Tomio can do better than what he did here is, so he should know Renekton's coming this way. He should understand that, you know, everyone's coming mid. Probably doesn't know about Vulcan, but that's okay. I think what Tomio could have done if he was a really creative player is actually sneak up all the way topside and just play to waste all their time. And if he can potentially flash a key spell from the Nautilus or from the Zyra, he can even end up executing up here while wasting all of Thanatos or Jojo's or Vulcan's time. Well, during that time, you know, maybe they can stack a bot wave and dive.
Well, thank you so much for taking us through a second Scuttle Crab incident. Blabber was on the winning side of this one. We are going to go to a quick break, and game 2 is on the other side.
Hello?
Bro, what are you parking?
Seriously? What is that?
Remote smart parking assist. You could have parked anywhere.
They could have parked there. They could have parked there. They could have parked there.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hey guys, it's Armeo from Momoto's Progressive. Today we're going to be doing a July 4th taste test and trivia video. I feel like that's not my mouth.
That's not your left.
The is that? Potato salad or something. That's a 3. That's just on there. It's going to be there.
Yeah, I hate this. 1. Wow, I almost died.
How many stripes are on the flag?
13?
Correct!
Oh! I deserve to leave here. National anthem? What's that? I don't know.
Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
Star Spangled Banner. That's a real American right here.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I love about the LCS. I think for me, it's the idea of making like a big impression on the international stage for the LCS. I would say like I have a lot of like memories, like fanship, nostalgia, whatever you want to call it, of the LCS because I've been watching this league since I've been a kid, honestly. So I've watched a lot of the X players grow. I've watched me play with them. I've watched like me grow, my teammates grow. And yeah, it's just, I want to do well for my region.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for Game 2 between Cloud9 and Shopify Rebellion. And I definitely empathize with Blabber there as someone who also grew up watching the LCS first, seeing you guys like Kobe and Jad and even Riv back in the day as well, and now joining the stage. It's definitely a pleasure to be here. And for Blabber, someone...
Good drawings
I
right
love
there.
those drawings.
Holy.
Always have some very talented fans in the audience today. But one of the things I want to remind people about Blabber is that he is the longest tenured member on Cloud9, already considered one of the premier organizations in the LCS so far today. And the fact that Blabber is still probably their most notable player, the one that has stayed with them the longest, speaks to the caliber of his play and his career so far.
Yeah, Reaper talking about, you know, having him plus JoJo plus Berserker on the same team as like a core also is really nice building blocks. And Thanatos, amazing first game there. I mean, just roaming down, he had the shoved wave. It's quite easy to get the first blood. But then what he did with that first blood and absolutely destroyed top lane, taking the entire turret, made the game very, very easy for Cloud9. So now it's really turning up the pressure on Shopify. We're going to have to look at basically everybody, I would say except Insanity. Insanity, he accomplished what they wanted with their Lucian pick, you know, try and take advantage of the Corki early on. He did a very good job, as we mentioned, in the early lane phase, but that was about it for Shopify. That was like the only shining bright spot, and then the rest of it was just full takeover by Cloud9. So we'll see what they can do from the red side here as we get into draft. On red side, they're going to final ban Zyra, actually, which does leave open the Skarner. And Shopify, they were the team, remember. They were getting flamed a lot for leaving up the Skarner and then picking the Rumble
Flowers
for
included.
Fake God. But the Rumble into the Skarner that they tried to use twice and failed with both times is not the only answer that you can use if they still believe in that one, which you do have a good lane phase versus Skarner, and you do have an easy way to build right into Leandries and percent health damage, but you can also go for other strats versus Skarner. Like you can do a Twisted Fate strat, try and play the whole map, use your ultimate. Gold cards are very good at stopping the Skarner when he's trying to go for ease and is trying to drive at people. The other ones are like the Mordekaiser, where we saw Impact absolutely decimate. That one was amazing. The Olaf is another real niche one that in a 1v1 scenario, you know, obviously your ultimate and being able to run down the Skarner is actually a really fun one that I like from solo queue, but we have not seen that one pop up quite yet. So let's get right into it though, Rafa. Guess what? Are you surprised to see a Corki and a Karthus together?
Nope. Yeah. And Kobe, I let you finish, but I just know somewhere in the back in one of our green rooms, Flowers is mauling over the fact that Skarner was even let through. He has been absolutely relentless in saying, guys, if you want to win, then ban this champion away from the enemy team. And Shopify has not shown that they have had the answer into a Skarner regardless of which team has picked it so far. But it seems like their response is going to be the Renekton. This is one of Fake God's most played champions throughout his career. Maybe a return to comfort despite staring a Scorpion in the face can be what gives Shopify an edge. But the way the Thanatos absolutely mauled him in the first game, I'm
You're not optimistic, huh?
Yep.
I'm picking up on that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, the Renekton, it's also something where you have a lot more pressure on you to get an early advantage over a Skarner, because Skarner's going to bring so much to team fights. Skarner has really, really good engage here, and when you already on the side of Cloud9 have the Corki and Karthus, There's so much damage at a very long range as well at their disposal. So Shopify, they spend both their bans though on more engaged support champs here for Vulcan. That has really been the best of Vulcan that we have seen. That's why this meta has been so good for him in particular, and having a bit of a bounce back here for himself in particular. Meanwhile, it opens up their possibility to pick the Zeri here, not having to deal with a Nautilus ultimate point and click. And with the Leona options, does mean it's going to be the Zeri plus the Ezreal dual carry again.
Yeah, with Ezreal mid, this is Insanity's now first foray with this champion. Everyone is being inspired by Quid these days, but Cloud9, what is there going to be their response for the bottom side of the map? Ashe was still left open during this entire draft phase, and whether it's in the hands of support or AD carry, you have long-range engage that you can fish for picks during the mid-game.
And I really like the AD carry option here because they already have, like we mentioned, the Karthus and the Corki is plenty of damage for your team fight for later. So having the utility of an Ashe really does look nice. Also, Berserker has been so good on this champion. Really does make use of the full kiting potential. Able to use the slow and keep people at range, keep very nice spacing. So now you've got an Ashe Arrow plus a Rakan to just guarantee your engage. Nice little robust team composition for Cloud9. What can Shopify do to try and crack it? They are going to get some more setup here in the Alistar for Zeyzal. It does really sacrifice your level 1 priority. So whenever you have Ashe on the opponent team, plus Alistar really doesn't get to do a whole lot on level 1. You'll see Cloud9 set up Blabber for some good clears. Maybe they even go as far as to get some deep rewards here. But the Karthus, of course, is going to be one of those full clear champions. They are going to be scaling on both him and JoJo pretty aggressively.
And we've already seen how well Blabber has adapted to this meta. The Zyra pick, masterclass from him in game 1. The Karthus, already a champion he has shown very, very strong performances on during this summer split. So for Cloud9 fans, the expectation should be another dominant game to close out this series, to end the week off on a high note, solidifying their position at the top of the standings.
Yeah, I would say so coming out of draft, because the draft is almost the same. It's very similar. It's like, okay, the Ezreal mid instead of the Lucian mid. But other than that, it's extremely similar. A lot of very similar components here that do the same thing. So you can tell like the type of playstyle Shopify were practicing this week, this like short week leading into the games this weekend. And it's on them to just try and clean up some of the mistakes. You know, we'll see if... goal number 1 is, of course, don't give up the first blood on the crabs. That'll be goal number 1, and then we'll work from there, Rafa. One step at a time, all right?
There you go. You know, just try to identify or re-identify the fundamentals. You know, every few minutes, check the timers, making sure that you have priority in those side lanes so that you can play for the objectives once again, and so that everything just doesn't fall apart at the first sign of conflict. But we are on to the Rift for Game 2, and Cloud9 have brought their duo lane into the mid lane. Blabber trying to see if he can push Tomio off of this Raptor camp.
Yeah, Maokai, you know, tanks versus these AP jungles is always going to be pretty difficult. You really got to rely on your lanes. You don't have a lot of the options that some of the solo queue, you know, counters to those champs will have, where they try and go for invades, try and go for, you know, champs that can try and run him down. But we'll see what they do, because Cloud9, like we expected, they go in with their level 1 on their bottom side, actually, and grab their deep ward towards the blue buff. Berserker and Vulcan now positioning very, very aggressively. Alistar, of course, since you... Well, they're going to retake here with everybody, it looks like.
They haven't left yet. I mean, they see Zeyzal and B-Voy on the blue buff, but now that Tomio has joined, Berserker and Vulcan wrap around, but they were spotted on this, so Shopify have full knowledge that the duo lane is going to try to harass them off the blue buff, but if it comes to it, Tomio can use the smite and secure it, but it does slow down the clear, and it slows down Zeyzal and B-Voy's approach to the bottom lane. But now with those, you know, shenanigans out of the way, Blabber's going to try to answer on the top side.
Yeah, and it's really annoying because, you know, it slows down your take a little bit, but it also makes you go over to Wolves instead of immediately over to Gromp. And like you're saying, Blabber this whole time while your bottom lane is harassing him, just gets to take your quadrant, and you run into this problem as a Maokai where you are behind a jungler that clears faster than you and beats you, so, you know, one versus one. So like, your options are so limited that you have to rely on a laner to bail you out, and your laners have to be winning in order to do that. So we'll see what he does, because right now it's tough for Tomio. The defensive ward I want to point out on the mini-map right now as he crosses, right here, we'll see him. You're playing into Cloud9's hands, and so he throws the sapling. Smart for him. He doesn't just start them up because he's well aware. And Blabber's going to be able to defend his Raptors and take the other side now.
Yeah.
Tomio going to have to kind of wander around, and basically as Blabber now, you get your vision of him and you just keep matching because he has nowhere to go. So Blabber goes back over. He knows that Tomio's coming to this side now to take his wolves, and Tomio has to rely on Renekton to try and help him get a single extra camp in the game, and that camp will be the Cloud9 Gromp.
Yeah, because that's the only lane that he was able to get Prio through. Jojo Pyun took a massive trade, forcing Insanity to recall and teleport back to lane, so he cannot actually invade through bottom side since his bot lane is also losing the push against Berserker and Vulcan. So Tomio, I mean, thankfully for him, he's able to get the Gromp back, but this still puts him behind in terms of the pace, and Blabber is still accelerated.
Yeah, you get your Gromp plus Crab plus your own Krugs there, but your camps are so out of order with their respawn times too. It's definitely hard for him to keep up with the Karthus. Meanwhile, Blabber on the bottom side will get the bottom Crab and does have his nice early lead on the Karthus, so should be smooth sailing for him. Bottom side doing a lot of work for him too. You know, Vulcan and Berserker were able to shove in and get the early recall here. This is your quote-unquote cheater recall, cannon wave here, and Vulcan even pulls the wave, so Shopify now, they know that if they left it alone, their wave was going to push out and away for them, so they have to annihilate this cannon wave. And this is plenty of time for Berserker to get back with his nice little buy, the recurve bow already in his pockets. It is a cannon wave, so he's at most going to lose like one melee minion, and Vulcan actually going in here, try and mess with them, and then he should be in range for the volley even to get his cannon. Even gets the execute from Vulcan, so nice little teamwork there. Doesn't lose out on anything, and now you're in the state where you come back with your recurve bow ready.
And Blabber's already here on the top side to play for the second rotation of Raptors, making sure that Tomio is just bled and choked out of this game through economy. I mean, we know that thankfully for Shopify fans that Tomio is on a utility jungler again this game, but still, giving over free gold over to the Karthus, who is just going to continue accelerating, and if you don't have a chance to make any plays on the map, then you're just looking at game one results all over again.
Well, at least it is better start here, not giving up first blood. So
sure,
that's nice. Count your blessings, Rafa.
Yeah.
No first blood given up. Although with the Ezreal pick instead of the Lucian pick, you don't have the aggressive look, right, for an Insanity. Ezreal early on is fine, but is not nearly as aggressive as the Lucian, being able to jump in and make such good use of the piercing lights. Meanwhile, nice little job here. Jojo's going to collect this wave and have it pushing back towards him, even though he did miss that melee. So small minus point here, but is going to have a really nice situation because Insanity's got no teleport. So you're just like, all right, we keep our wave in mid. It just evaporates your cannon wave that was sitting there. And Jojo's going to have a nice little advantage for himself. Plus, he already had his tier stacking, had his tier buy, so he's got the lead on the tier stacking, he's got the lead in the CS, he's got the lead in the jungle on his side. Everything is looking great.
Yep, Blabber went for the first dragon on the bottom side of the map. Tomio, because he has Prio from Fake Gods Renekton, can look for the first rotation of Grubs. And one of the things I want to point out for Cloud9, even though this is against one of the bottom teams in the league, the evolution that we wanted to see from Cloud9 from Spring Split is just having these players play more together. You're seeing the evolution already come through in the Summer Split. Vulcan is taking more roam timers. Berserker confident that he can handle himself in the 1v2, doing it well in sync so that Berserker's never under threat for too long. Blabber and Vulcan also playing more around Jojo Pyun's laning phase has allowed Cloud9 to hopefully translate a lot of those advantages that they want to get into the mid game.
Well, this is nice. There's a pushing wave down here, so they actually go for it on Zeyzal because Blabber's coming.
And Berserker is level 6, a huge chunk. The flash forward, the Ignite is ticking down. That should be first blood for Vulcan.
And he barely survives as well. He does not go down to B-Boy. Now Blabber is here, level 6. B-Boy, good luck over there. Blabber's going to be able to stop off and take the blue first. Ooh, that'd be quite nice. Get a little bit of extra cooldown reduction before you do your first ultimate. Grab the blue. B-Boy giving nice respect. Kind of backed off a little bit there.
True shot barrage! Nice reaction from Vulcan. We'll see it over the crab vision.
Tomio. JoJo's coming for some hide and seek. Tomio's level 6 though, and has flash, so. And a blast cone to play with.
Does Tomio want to play for this? He has collapse from Insanity. Jojo Pyun might have gone too deep. The Twisted Advance will lock him down. Nature's Grasp for the further route, but he finally gets the flash out, and Blabber's here to answer back.
Let's see. Good trade right there. Getting no flash on JoJo. Again, this is something they achieved in the first game, but were unable to punish and actually get a kill, a repeat gank or a kill later. But maybe this time around they can actually get a kill onto JoJo.
That's the evolution we want to see from Shopify this game.
Exactly. Rest of the Cloud9 team does come mid, though. JoJo does not go for the recall. Chugs the potion and gets one more.
Flash. Wait a minute. Looking for Jojo Pyun. Puns Vulcan right back. He still has flash available, so he shouldn't be in danger, but nice intercept on the first Battle Dance cast. But still, Vulcan has enough mobility to escape.
Yeah, and these wards, too, they left behind. Do see Blabber heading over, so they're not going to overstay their welcome here. Vulcan gets another zombie ward for himself, and it should be a arrow. Nice.
Right on Azazel, no flash. Here comes the Requiem for a little bit of extra damage. And Berserker should be able to get in range. Vulcan waiting for another grand entrance for the knockup, potentially. Just the auto attacks and the slows guarantees the kill over to Berserker.
Berserker the sniper. He has had a pretty strong career in North American LCS on Ashe specifically. Has always had really, really good Ashe arrows as well as team fighting. So Cloud9 pretty happy with this one. Bottom lane doing a lot of work. You mentioned they're roaming, but it's not even just Vulcan. Berserker getting in there too, getting his hands dirty. The closer Ashe arrows, much easier to hit, and get the extra chase down there as well. So nice little rotation too. They had JoJo go bottom since Berserker spent his time roaming up to mid, and they're matching the little bit of a swap here.
Yeah. During that time, Tomio showed on the top side of the map, and as soon as he was in vision of Thanatos, immediately Respect Flash did not want to fall prey and give Fake God a larger advantage than need be.
Definitely do not. The Renekton with the CS advantage and trying to make the most of the pick. Remember, we should also include the Gromp take for the Renekton advantage, because Renekton was the whole reason that Tomio was able to take the Cloud9 Gromp, so we'll give him 4 more on that CS leap.
I mean, Shopify, just the fact that they gave the Skarner over so that they can guarantee some priority with the Renekton counterpick in the top lane is one of the only saving graces for Shopify Rebellion so far this game. They haven't been able to make a huge advantage off of it, but they're not bleeding gold like they were at this point in the game.
Yep. All right. They know the Blabber's top side, so thinking about something on the other half of the map. Tomio walking around, dragging up in a little under 40 seconds here as they try and plant saplings in as many brush as they can.
Oh, flash W onto JoJo. No flash from before. That's the kill setup. And I don't think Jojo Pyun was respecting the all-in potential from Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, good punish there from Tomio. Flashes on him. They do improve on the previous game and get their actual kill scored after burning JoJo's flash earlier. Nicely done there for Shopify, getting the gold into the hands of Insanity, plus he's able to get turret plates afterwards. This is exactly the player they need to get some more money in, him and B-Boy. See if they can turn this one into the dragon while Blabber used all of his mana up on those grubs. So should be able to get themselves a dragon too here for Shopify.
There we go. Shopify already showing a little bit more signs of life in the second game of the series.
Can they get out after, though?
Cloud9 are going to try to challenge. Blabber still has Requiem if he wants to cast it while the rest of Cloud9 follows up, but Shopify escort themselves safely back into the jungle.
Yeah, nice little slide over the wall there for B-Boy as Ashe Arrow is coming in. Good improvements here from Shopify to make the game much more competitive than number one. They're, of course, still facing gold deficit, and the Skarner here is going to provide a lot of CC and control for these dual carries of Blabber and JoJo later on. So definitely still some more danger here for Shopify to have to deal with, but definitely improvements.
12 minutes into the game, 2 minutes away from these rift or these tower plates from falling. Shopify, the fact that they were able to get 3 grubs this game, a dragon apiece as well, they're in a much more competitive state, and still playing off of the fact that Jojo for, well, actually only for a few more seconds before his flash comes up, but those are the type of plays where Shopify, as soon as you know that timer is available to you, you cannot hesitate. You have to be proactive and be the first ones making those plays in the first place.
Yeah, I think the next thing we're going to look at as we head into the mid game here is that the difference in compositions becomes apparent when you look at the ease of getting picks. Cloud9 side, it is very, very easy since they have super long range and versatile ways to get picks with Ash Arrow plus Rakan and Skarner. Meanwhile, Shopify, it's much more dangerous. When Zeyzal goes in for flank possibilities on an Alistar, every time it is extremely dangerous because you have to be so sneaky, you have to be very diligent about tracking enemy wards. If they see you, then you become the prey. And if you don't have a flank, then you're just not going to have the surprise factor to be able to actually get your engage, since Cloud9 do again have their little bit of a range advantage. So the next difficult thing for Shopify to overcome is going to be that. And so it's very critical that they try and get some vision advantages and try and get those surprise angles so you can get a good Maokai ultimate, so you could get a good Alistar snap engage flank combination. Because otherwise, Cloud9, they get the choices, right? They get to say, all right, Berserker, you've got your Fog of War. It's a great time to fire some Ash Arrows. Or Skarner comes at you through the wall, surprise. Or Rakan comes at you from 2 screens away, surprise.
And Blabber's got the insistence of Thanatos and Vulcan playing on the top side of the map. He pops a Requiem. I wonder if he was just trying to farm a Dark Harvest stack or something?
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's very low, but they're a little early ultimate sometimes here to prep for a dive.
Getting a decent amount of damage. Fake God forced to pop the Dominus and spaces out the Call of the Meek, so nicely done. Just enough chunk damage to force the Renekton off the tower. True Shot Barrage will attempt to kill the wave, but Thanatos and Jojo have enough damage to take out the tier 1.
There you go. The pressure early. He's under tower. Lay on the ult first. You got your Leandri's burn started. Chase him down, and he hit enough Qs to grab a Dark Harvest on the way out. So you get your tower, you get your Rift Herald, and Cloud9 doing a good job of pushing the game state forward here. Even though they will sacrifice bottom outer tower, the fact that they got the Rift Herald means you then get the advantage on getting mid towers down. Mid tower, much more critical here in gaining control of the mid game, so they'll be able to have that Rift Herald push for a mid take.
Yeah, and Shopify answering on the bottom side of the map, making sure that they are not falling too far behind in gold and objective advantages. The next dragon is going to be spawning in 1 minute and 20. Baron's still not going to be on the table for some time. We're at only 15 minutes into the game. Cloud9 getting resets off of their duo lane at the moment, and that should be first items coming in as well. So everyone on the side of Cloud9, very strong point. What item spikes? I imagine this is the time where they're going to start pushing that vision line deeper into Shopify's blue side jungle and pushing them off the dragon.
All right, so Shopify now, you've got both your teleports ready for a counterplay, so they're looking at bottom side currently, since Dragon is coming up shortly, and trying to make use of that bottom tower being down, maybe get some deeper vision through the jungle. Then you can get those surprise plays we were talking about for the Maokai, for the Alistar. If they can get a good setup, a good angle on the fight, then maybe you get your snap engage. B-Boy here, though, still looking for his level 11. There you go. Got the rank 2 ultimate. Tell me you're going to fire it off.
Zeyzal goes for the knockup and interrupts Vulcan, but he gets the grand entrance anyway. The lightning crash is popped by V-Boy, and Vulcan dashes back over to Blabber for safety. Berserker was taken low. True Shot Barrage dinks Vulcan for a bit of extra damage. The dragon will be spawning in 5 seconds, but Zeyzal took a lot of damage in the fire, and he's going to get a chance to recall. But Shopify, they have vision on the bottom side of the jungle. They might still be able to play for this.
Interesting, Berserker does not back. They wanted to do the Rift Herald mid-play immediately, so Berserker's still going to be at 50%. He did save his flash on that previous engage, though, so still has that to survive with.
Fake God was fading on over. He's going to join the squad so he doesn't have the burn to teleport, but Thanatos is working on the bottom side of the map as well. So Cloud9, with the push in the fight, they still get 2 turrets for themselves, and they still have control of the river and the dragon.
They certainly do. They can easily push up mid and bottom, and continue to poke away, try and use their little range advantage here from the Dragon setup. Shopify, are they going to go for it? Tomio ultimates at the ready.
Requiem is fired for the initial burst of damage. The Nature's Grasp comes across. Another True Shot barrage hits Berserker in the back. Massive knockup from Zazel, but Berserker flashes before Fakecock can get in range. Thanatos with the flash impale will bring B-Boy right back into the team. And Shopify may have given their best attempt yet, and it just wasn't good enough.
Clean from Thanatos here, comes in on the side as the rest of Cloud9 got full comboed by the Alistar.
The game.
Thank you, Flowers. Flowers ganks us from the left side. Thanatos ganked them from the right side. But it is, you know, the full send attempt. Zazel, you see him on the blast cone, goes for the full combo, gets 3 members. And so the rest of Shopify try to follow up, flashing forward. But as we mentioned, Berserker had his flash cleanse still available. So Berserker does not die. He flash cleanses to safety, and Thanatos there runs one into the wall and then is able to ultimate to grab the other for the extra kills. And Cloud9 right back to pushing on both sides of the map.
Kobe, this is very tough for Shopify. And at Cloud9, I mean, being able to show their dominance once again, that seems so good for Shopify, the way the engage started off, but just quick reactions from the back line of Cloud9 being able to dodge up on the follow-up from frontline members of Shopify. We now have a 5,000 gold advantage heading into the 19th minute of the game. 2 Dragons to Cloud9, and they have full control of this topside jungle.
Yeah, it's a couple small things where we're looking at all these little things that Cloud9 are doing that set themselves up with extra advantages. You know, all of them rotate to the bottom side, just cleanse out the Ash Arrow here, but all of them on that Dragon fight, they hug the bottom side where, never mind, another one.
They're going to force a fight here. Vulcan still has flash if he needs it, pops the quickness and charms the entrance from Tomio, burning down to the Ignite, and Thanatos picks up the kill. Another Impale, locks up Zazel, as now he is gone next. Joju Pyon finding the kill on that one, and Insanity B-Void do not have the safety to walk up anymore.
I'm ready for Flowers. Where's it? He didn't pop out this time. They're keeping us on our toes. But then it does have a nice little ultimate first there. And the E is always so nice and easy to use if you're just right next to them. Quick little insta E into the wall. But yeah, it's just desperation times for Shopify. So they're like, you know what? If we ever see an angle, we're just going to full send and hope for the best at this point, because completely bleeding out the game. And a full credit to Cloud9 for bleeding them out this way.
Yeah.
They keep on removing the options here. They're really doing a good job with you know, those early picks that we highlighted with the Corki and Karthus and Skarner, making it very difficult. And again, I have to say, even though it is later in the draft, but having the Ash here for Berserker and Vulcan on the Rakan has just been quite a godsend for them. I mean, the early roaming and map influence that these two had, really allowing for such a smooth scaling game here for the other 2 carries, is set themselves up so that at 20 minutes, we again are looking towards the Baron area of the map, as objective bounties have spawned here for the side of Shopify, since they are so far behind in the game. And
yeah,
Cloud9 once again looking for their own moves.
Shopify committing the teleport of Insanity to join on the top side of the jungle. Cloud9 don't have Blabber on the top side quite yet. They're going to look for a pick onto him, but he has flash, and he flashes just to get more distance so that Shopify could not follow up on the play.
Flanking. They might want a little piece, but Blabber's so far away, yeah. Don't want to complete on that flank, but he did a good job pushing in and then threatening the jungle flank. The rest of Cloud9 just said, hey, we're going to head over towards Baron after that instead. We know they have no Maokai ultimate for this team fight, and Maokai ultimate is like the main thing that Shopify are really banking on to make that comeback team fight. Now they just got to hope for a miracle.
Requiem opens up, decent burst damage to start off the fight, 3k HP on the Baron, and the arrow from Berserker will stop Tomio in his tracks, and they follow up to take him down.
Cloud9 will be able to have a 2-0 clean series here versus Shopify. It is looking like Shopify cannot do anything, Rafa. Cloud9 taking away all their options. Baron buff again, and we're saying it's only 21.5 minutes in.
Thanatos over the wall, the Impale turns that Crocodile into boots and a belt for Cloud9, as they're going to take that money back to the bank. But they're content continuing the siege against only 3 members of Shopify. The only frontliner is Zazel. And on this cow, I don't know how much he's going to be able to achieve. Tomio has respawned, but the tier 3 is already destroyed, and Cloud9 will take the prize.
Yeah. They want to go back to the bank, as you said. they
got to spend that money.
They've got so much cash. They're like, what do I do with all this cash, Rafa? I go get some more luxury items. Maybe JoJo here gets a little fancy. He's got his flash, though, so probably at best they would be able to get a summoner spell. Not even going to get that. There's also no damage behind Zeyzal and Tomio, so yeah.
Yeah. It is now over 10,000 gold for the side of Cloud9. And at this point in the game, you know, Shopify from game 1 had tried to take the game slower, but you could see that in game 2, the adaptations were, guys, we need to be more proactive. If we don't try to make moves, then we're going to fall behind anyway. And I will give the benefit of credit to Shopify that they tried to fish for plays on the right timers. Berserker didn't have sums in that red jungle fight. Unfortunately for them, Vulcan was able to block a lot of the initiation, the CC, and so all of Shopify's plays that they have attempted so far still just outplayed by Cloud9 in the end.
I'm just really worried for this Shopify team because they're starting with a 0-3 and then going into a long break. Plus, these last 2 games are maybe the most brutal. A lot of their games have been brutal, but these ones truly have been that way. Here we go with the ultimate again to soften them up before the actual confrontation.
Jojo Pion and Berserker will press forward, crashing the tier 3, looking for the inhibitor both in the mid lane and the bottom lane. Shopify, they are on their last defense. One last attempt to stop this game from ending, from letting Cloud9 take the series. But a 5-man strong push with the Baron buff on their side. It doesn't look like it will happen. The flash from Zeyzal will find JoJo, but he gets the flash, and Berserker can follow up on the engage. Zeyzal is burned down to the ground. Then Thanatos will lead the charge once again, throws a big rock to soften Shopify, even in the safety of their fountain. And Tomio was looking for the flank on the left side, forced the flash away. The True Shot Barrage does deal decent damage to JoJo, but both of the Nexus towers are gone. Cloud9 can now look to just full hit and step up forward. Shopify, one last chance. It's not gonna matter. Cloud9 will sweep the series against Shopify Rebellion.
Complete and utter domination. Quick 2-0 for C9. Sitting up there at the top of the standings. As I said, it is going to be pretty rough here for Shopify. I'm definitely worried and really hope that they can make a turnaround in the break that we're about to have here. Maybe some intense practice time and come back looking like a new and refreshed team.
That's right. Well, with that series win, we're going to send it down to Emily on the stage to join the Cloud9 squad for the interview.
All right. Flabber. I'm gonna pull you for an interview. Yeah, we're just pulling you right from the bow now, you know. Congratulations on the win. Yeah, no, there's 3 marks here. There we go.
There we go. Okay.
First time. Congratulations on the win. I've joked a lot about how you're living your best life with these AP farming junglers. What's the meta been like for you?
I'm enjoying playing the AP junglers, but right now I'm honestly having more fun playing Sejuani. That's the most fun I've been having. It's kind of boring, full clearing only. And just, you know, my team goes to 3v4, I press ult on Karthus, and I'm just kind of chilling.
I'm floored, actually, because you're so efficient at farming, and this is such a great meta for you. And also, I believe you are the first jungler I've ever heard saying they're having fun playing Sedge.
Actually, my Karthus game I played really bad, I think. My early game pathing was really bad. I really screwed up after I invaded. I should just went to my Gromp and my walls. Just even if it takes my chickens, it's fine, because my rotation of camps was so bad afterwards. So I really trolled that game, so I wasn't happy with how I played early game. But yeah, I mean, I like full clearing and then being able to, you know, fight a lot. But I feel like on Karthus, I'm just full clearing and then full clearing their camps.
Well, hope you can, you know, maybe get the Zyra. She fights a little more, like Talia, something in there. This team really looks like they're coming together. I know we talked to Reaper before the game, and he said when you have 5 really good individuals, they will automatically come together as a team. So what's it been like having him return as C9 coach and then obviously integrating Thanatos into the roster?
This felt really good, at least for me. Like, we've been doing really well in practice, and our games have been a lot clean. I mean, they're not clean, but they've been a lot better than I would say last split, and we're just having a lot of success. And I think confidence on the team is high, so it's just been really nice working with Reaper and Thanatos.
What do you think, obviously, outside of the individual changes, what do you think the most improvement you've made as a unit from spring to summer has been?
I think our mid game has been a lot better this split. I mean, obviously, I think our early game's been good, but I think that mid game we rotate really well now. I feel like last split I was a bit AFK in mid game, and I feel like I've improved a lot on that this split, especially working with Vulcan. So I'm really happy with how we've gotten better, but I think we'll need to play against, maybe TL or Fly to actually be able to show that.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to that after the break. Thank you so much for taking the time, Blabber. Always great to catch up with you. And we're going to toss it to the LCS AT&T comms replay, and then Fly Dig on the other side of that.
They come to here, I want to fight, okay? They're really chunky.
I'm okay. You can fight after, guys.
Yeah,
Look.
Get no flash. I'll get no flash. Nice. That's all.
We can go mid, sorry, guys.
I'm going top, okay?
Okay. I think I can still go mid, though.
Yeah. Control their jungle.
What do they have?
Didn't you hear? Feels like you're feeling it.
Basically, my new connection is so strong I can game anywhere. Check it out. We've got Gamer Rocker, Gamer Floaty, Gamer Couch.
Whoa.
It's got wheels. Gamer Bench, Gamer Throne, and Gamer Mower. What's that? It's hard to game while walking downstairs.
I get it.
That's smart.
Live like a gagillionaire with low latency everywhere. AT&T Fiber with All-Fi.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I've got the Samsung 990 Pro Series. Shall we get started then? This speed exceeds all expectations. Reading speeds are 40% quicker than before, and writing speeds are 55% faster. Through the in-house controller, the per-watt performance has improved up to 50%. The 990 Pro's nickel coating controller for its smart thermal solution technology controls you. Playing computer games? Obviously the best.
Hello everyone, I'm APA. I'm joined by the victorious C9 Jojo Pune. How's it feel to win that series?
It felt pretty good. I mean, it was kind of easy, not gonna lie. I felt like they weren't really doing too much.
They were so bad last week.
Not gonna lie, it was like pretty bad. I mean, I think right now we're just waiting for FlyQuest and TL just to verse you guys. So
yeah. So I think after this series with your 2-0, you're tied first place with me. How does it feel to be the underdog coming into my series?
I mean, not gonna lie, I think we are the underdog right now, but I mean, in scrims and hearing like how you guys are playing in scrims. I mean, I heard you guys were playing well in scrims, but when I asked FlyQuest or when we verse you guys are looking kind of shaky. So I don't know. We'll just see.
I mean, speaking of scrims a little bit, how do you think your last scrim set went versus us? Because last time you were kind of running it down.
I mean,
so
not
what
gonna lie,
was
it's
that
like it's too boring that I can't focus. You know, it's like it's too easy. It's like I have to limit test kind of. So it's like we just have to experiment and just experiment what we do on the map and our plays and stuff. So
Okay. So I had another question. So before I came into the league, you were a big trash talker. Now that I'm here, I've like taken that throne. So what's up with you being muzzled?
I mean, you think you're the bigger trash talker, but I think you really forced your trash talk. Like I feel
forced
like
it? Okay.
you're like I feel like I kind of inspired you. I'm like your idol in trash talking, and you kind of type after I typed. I mean, that's like. It's kind of a compliment to me, not gonna lie, because you're kind of learning from me. So it's like I get to see my son kind of grow up in trash talk. So it's like a good thing, you know. I don't mind it.
So, but what's up with the muzzle this split then? Because I haven't seen you typing. Like you're smacking around Shopify this series, and then just, where's the typing at?
I mean, it's not really worth typing to Shopify. I just gotta wait for 5%. Like, I can type to them, but it's kind of like disrespectful at this
bullying.
point. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's like a close series or they're kind of playing well, then I feel like I can talk.
No,
but
I can get
yeah,
that.
We're kind of just
we don't
like,
want to bully the little guys in the league.
That's what I'm saying.
So we talked about scrims a little bit. We talked about stage. What are you guys gonna do during this break? Because I'm gonna be busy doing some other things that I'm not gonna talk
You
about.
guys are going to Saudi, just versing the best teams. But
so, what's C9 gonna be doing this next few weeks?
We're definitely gonna keep scrimming. I think we're playing a lot better right now, but we can definitely improve. Obviously, since you guys and FlyQuest are gone, I don't know if we're gonna get that many good scrims, but we'll try. We'll just try keeping our form, and hopefully you guys like get tilted at Saudi. You guys just get shit on, and then you guys come back like tilted.
Tilted and we're a worse team. Okay,
Yeah,
good game plan. All right, I think we're done here. So thanks for the interview, Jojo.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Inspired a lot.
It's so weird to have this opinion.
If you say it publicly, you're blaming your teammates.
They can't take it, but there was like legit nothing.
I was gaslit into thinking Annie is like super OP.
Bro, we had like 100% win rate with Bunny.
He thinks any PR is good PR, I guess?
It's a nice position to be in. I kind of like it. Some people don't like it. I don't care.
Not a good look.
Game one was not my fault. Game one was just Jensen's fault. I think he just played like vegan. I played mediocre fights after. I think my teammates like Jensen played kind of bad in the team fights.
I mean, there's definitely a difference. Because like, if you say it publicly, you're blaming your teammates. I mean, I thought it sounded a bit delusional when he was blaming me for that entire series.
Like, from my perspective, I just felt like he could have done more. I didn't even review the game when I said it. I just like straight up went from the final and thought maybe he could have done more. But then after reviewing, I saw like he missed some opportunities. I think I missed a lot of opportunities. I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that hard.
Sometimes like you see him a lot using TP or like even running top to roam. It's usually coming from me and Wipo calling him to do that because we try to tell him that mid lane is not just like 1v1 lane. You can actually impact the game and make the game so much easier for everyone else to play. And I think it's just completely new style for him because before it was just he's just playing in an A, just last hitting minions and whatever happens, happens.
I mean, I feel like usually Inspired is like kind of the CEO of the team. Yeah. The guy that like makes the decisions. Maybe the reselling a kick too, who knows?
There's no real beef behind the scenes at FlyQuest. It's just some honest feedback. I don't think so.
I mean, we had like fighting a little bit, like when he's actually not pushing advantages.
Wait, we're not going back. Now we're gonna cut you. Thank you so much, boys.
Oh, yo, Jensen, good to see you.
Good luck making worlds now.
The moment we've been waiting for.
Yes, sir!
All year, really. Dignitas versus FlyQuest. You saw a lot of the history there, snippets, really, of some larger talk between the two. There was also the fact that Dig became really likable about a week ago.
Yeah.
With Dig season, but really just an exciting matchup here on a Friday.
I don't think they're already really likable. Like this team, they're a bunch of veterans. They have a kind of chip on, like every single one of them has a reason to have a chip on their shoulder, if not against FlyQuest, against some other LCS team. So they've just been really fun. Vibes are good.
Like, we said this yesterday, it's the Vindictive X angle. Like, this was heavily focused on Jensen, but it's not just him. Like, you go down the lineup, Spica, who I guess got benched twice, not just from the, like, when he was starting, but also when he was coming in as a streamer. That we got a Spica fan out there too. We have a lot of Spica fans, not just him. Licorice, I would say, is like his lowest moment in the LCS was when he was with FlyQuest. So there's a bunch, if you go down the line, where there is that chip on the shoulder you talked about.
Yeah, and I know it's just regular season, and they told you it's just a regular season game, but this is still really hype.
Absolutely. Let's pull up the predictions, actually, to get to our next point. I think one of the biggest loss story here with Dig and FlyQuest is how good FlyQuest actually has been and still can be. I think Quad has looked a little shaky in his stage games, but has been very good in scrims. You never know if it's going to translate completely, but I do think with a newer player to the LCS that it's going to be an improvement week over week. I'm actually not surprised in these predictions at all, with Discord being slanted towards Dignitas. And then I just decided to go all in on FlyQuest because I have a weird feeling about this.
Yeah, I like it. I think it goes to 3. I love the fact that we're showing the Discord votes because that just showcases the fandom. The fans right now heavily, we've shown it in the polls yesterday, the community just like through the week coming into today is definitely behind Dignitas. The scrims on the other hand, not so much.
Are behind FlyQuest.
Yes.
Yeah, by a significant margin.
Yes, by quite a lot.
Emily knows this because she caught up with both coaches ahead of the series. Check it out.
Hello, I am joined by Dignitas coach Maybury and FlyQuest coach Nukeduck before kind of a pretty hyped match for a regular season matchup. How are you two feeling going in? Nukeduck, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think, you know, we have a good shot. I hope the guys doesn't become too nervous because, like, you know, the external pressure. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, feeling good.
Is there actually external pressure from kind of all the hype that's been going around?
Well, I haven't talked about it with them, but I assume some of them maybe, maybe not. I mean, it is a hyped match, so I'm sure it impacts them a little bit. But it's not like we're talking about that internally or anything like that.
And then Mabry, for you, obviously you've brought it up, but your players have brought it up even more. the scrim record. How did scrims go this week, and what were the pressures like for Dig going into this match?
How are scrims going for us this week? Well, yesterday we went 3-3 for Shopify, so that was a bonus for us. Usually we end up on 2-4 or worse. Pressure for the match, I mean, for us it's just another regular season game. I know there's a lot of pressure externally, and that match is pretty hyped, but like between us, like we never really thought about it like that. So yeah.
What is the how are you going to beat FlyQuest?
How are we going to beat FlyQuest? I think if we go into like the mid game even or ahead, we're more confident in our macro. They're really good at playing 4v5 within the farming camps, so as long as we're in control, I think we'll be fine.
How are you going to beat Dignitas?
Yeah, we're just gonna do a normal thing. Maybe target Jensen a bit. That's probably, you know, like we know how he plays and what he likes to play, so you know, maybe we'll target Jensen a little bit.
All right, well, best of luck to both of you. Thank you for taking time to catch up. Really hype season match, FlyQuest Dig on the other side of this.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for some more LCS action here as we are about to kick off a very high energy match. We got Dignitas, we got FlyQuest. We've been having a lot of trash getting talked about this head-to-head, and we got APA joining us here for the TriCast for game number 1. This one's gonna be a ton of fun. APA, I gotta ask you right off the top, who do you think's gonna walk away with this one?
To be honest, I think it's going to be a close series, but
Okay.
I think FlyQuest does have the edge. I think they're going to take the series 2-1.
Okay, 2-1. I like that. He's got a 3-game prediction already, Azale. I know I always want 3 games out of these hype matchups.
Yeah.
I always want to see it go the distance. I'm ready for this one.
This one is going to be really exciting. Honestly, this is one of the regular season's games that I've been looking forward to so much.
It's super
and
hyped,
it feels like it kind of feels like old school League, where it was these teams that actually have a little bit of heat, a little bit of fire between them. When you think back to like the Seal GTSM rivalries, where there's a little bit of hate going on, it kind of feels like that with Jensen and Inspired. It kind of feels like that with some of these players. So I think it's going to be really exciting to see if that actually shows in the game plan. Because you're a guy who I think, you know, sometimes we'll be watching these games and I'm like, I think you're getting in their head. I think, you know, they're sending 4 or 5 bots to try to kill APA in the side lane and griefing the game, right? And it can change how people play. So do you think that could come into play here a bit, where, you know, maybe Jensen is really trying to prove that, hey, he's a bit better mid laner than Quad and trying to push a little bit further than he would, or maybe Inspired and Blippo are trying to punish Jensen a little bit more than would be Inspired?
I mean, I know if I was Jensen in this situation, I'd be feeling pretty robbed. Like, I feel like Jensen's a better player than Quad, so I don't know why he was replaced. But then if I'm Jensen going into this FlyQuest series, I'd be doing my best just to mess with Inspired, you know, like take a little small raptor from him, ward his camps, like taunt him as much as possible, just do anything to make him angry.
Yeah, it should be fun. It also makes it kind of spicy, you know, who's going to get counterpick potentially in mid lane. You know, if Jensen wants to play for a specific matchup, or if it's just going to be kind of business as usual. There was a lot of talk about, you know, Quad maybe being more aggressive and maybe fitting the playstyle better with what Inspired wanted to do. But yeah, and then when I was looking at a lot of his play in NACL and looking at some of his best games, and looking at his, you know, career most played champions, it's very similar to Jensen. So like, is there anything behind the scenes maybe in scrims and stuff that's showing that, or do you think they're pretty similar players?
I mean, in scrims, Quad is definitely a better player, but to be honest with you, Jensen kind of runs down scrims. So I don't know how much that has to take into account, but on stage, Quad was not that aggressive of a player. The only time he was aggressive was when he was running it down into me and just dying. So, yeah, I mean, personally, I'm on Team Jensen.
All right.
Jensen's in the right.
I like that. I like that. I'm ready to see exactly how this draft is going to shape up here. We're immediately starting it off with the Karthus and the Ashe banned out by Dig. FlyQuest paying their top lane taxes on red side, banning out the Skarner. Also going to ban out that Rumble. Those top 2 S-tier top laners not going to be allowed in this game, as Dignitas also removes the Senna, and therefore all of the combos that you might play with those farming supports alongside her.
Inspired has been playing a lot of these AP style junglers, 2 Karthus games, 2 Zyra games, as well as a Nidalee game. The only AD jungler he has played is that one game of Kindred. So it has been really heavily focused on this farming style. In the kind of head-to-head little trash talk interview that they did with Jat, Inspired and Jensen was calling Inspired the CEO of full clear. So definitely this kind of style that he likes to play. And honestly, it's the kind of style that's really strong right now.
If you look at the bans in the draft, all the 80 mid laners are up. The Tristana, the Corki, even some of the Lucian, the Ezreal that you've seen a little bit of last series. So if I'm FlyQuest here, I'm just probably taking 80 mid, like I said, the Corki, and then either looking for one of the AP junglers that Inspired's comfortable with.
Which side of that kind of classic mid lane matchup do you prefer, Tristana Corki? Because we're seeing so much of it these days.
I'm a bigger fan of Tristana, but I feel comfortable that I can win both sides. So I'll take either.
What gives Tristana the edge for you specifically?
I think I'm just really comfortable in the champion. I'm kind of new to Corki, to be honest, but Tristana I've played for years at this point. I'm just super comfortable on her.
Okay, makes sense. Well, we've got that Corki locked in for FlyQuest, like you already mentioned. Callista going to be the second pick. And yeah, I feel like Tristana Corki handshake, that's just the way League of Legends
It's
play.
the new Azir Corki.
Yeah, it's Tristana replaced old Azir. And so that's what we're likely going to end up having here. Dignitas also going for that Leona first pick of the draft. How do you feel about that being the big priority here for them?
Well, I think Leona is definitely one of the strongest supports, if not, apparently they dig the strongest support, so it's no surprise. And then the mid lane matchup is just gonna be a handshake. To me, there's no point in first picking one. I can see it. I think Leona's quite a strong champion. I'm always telling Core, if Leona's up Core, it's a Leona game.
Okay.
Well, and a lot of the tenacity, kind of that has been taken out of the game, I feel like has made Leona so much stronger. That is one of the things that I think is really making it so powerful right now. It's going to be interesting to see how Jensen actually plays on the Tristana as well. It's not, AD mids are not something that you really associate with Jensen. Obviously, he's played a lot of Corki back with the old Corki throughout his career, but only has 7 games in his entire career of Tristana. You play more than that in a week, so...
Probably in entirety of MSI, I was probably playing more than that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it will be interesting to see how Jensen performs. He is really someone who is known, obviously, for the control mages. He doesn't have many Lucian games. He doesn't have many Tristana games. There's a handful of those in his entire career, and he's been playing for 10 years.
And I like that for FlyQuest in terms of why they would prioritize the Corki over the Tristana in that handshake. Just saying, okay, if you're probably more familiar with one of these, we're going to make you play the other one. And so we're also going to get the brand locked in for Dignitas over here. Again, we already saw a couple of those AP junglers get banned out in the first half of the draft, so they want to make sure they get their option locked in before more bans come through. Talia picked up for FlyQuest, and now we're going to see Varus and Nautilus banned away.
Yeah, so we have double AP junglers once again. Talia obviously really popular in solo queue. What is your take on the strength of Talia as a jungler right now, and how much setup do you think is actually required for this champion to be successful? Because right now we're seeing Corki, we're seeing Callista.
Not much setup on the FlyQuest side. I think setup is nice, but it's not necessarily needed. I think, to me, Karthus, Zyra are the 2 premier AP junglers, and then Talia is just a step below, similar to Brand. So I think it's just, Dignitas removed 1, FlyQuest removed 1, Dignitas took 1, so they're taking probably the 4th best AP jungler, but she's still very strong. She clears very, very fast with the new 900 gold item.
Faded Ashes.
Yeah, Faded Ashes.
Yep.
I still think she's quite strong.
Can you buy Faded Ashes? Yes, you're a good jungler.
And
congratulations.
What I'm curious to see here for Dignitas is what ADC they actually take. Because Varus Leona or Varus Ezreal are both banned from FlyQuest side. So I'm curious to see what ADC you want to pair with the Leona bot lane into Callista.
Yeah, Ashe is banned, Senna's banned, the Callista's taken away. There's so many bans already. Of course, it is going to be Dignitas targeting supports for Busio, banning away a lot of those engaged supports that would be those kind of traditional pairings alongside the Callista.
Two of Callista's favorite bowling balls down there in that bottom lane duo with the Alistar and the Nautilus. Loves to be able to toss those into the mix of everything. But FlyQuest, for their 4th pick, they'll lock in the Renekton for Bwipo up there in the top side. The evergreen staple of top lane, pro play, League of Legends.
Ooh,
but what's the answer going to be here from Dig?
I actually really like this Poppy pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong Poppy pick. It's great into Callista. It's also a good matchup in the 1v1 against Renekton. And I think Licorice is a really strong Poppy player. So I think it's a super smart pick here.
Yeah, no, I agree. Every time you see this guy in solo queue on the Poppy pick, he's always just 200 armor, 200 MR, just the tankiest person in the world, engaging for you, doing everything. So I'm a fan of his Poppy. I'm happy to see him picked. Like I said, I'm still curious to see what AC they picked. Kaiser, Leona, it's okay matchup. I'm just curious to see how they can end up faring out in the lane, because the Callista lane should be very troublesome for them.
especially if they go Renata. I feel like Renata is such a strong pairing with the Kalista, and does make it pretty difficult for a lot of the dive champions.
I would potentially keep my eyes out for even a lane swap, because we got the tank top lane, we got a rough bot lane matchup. Maybe Dignitas ends up looking for an early swap coming in.
All right, I'm going to ask both you guys, but AP, I'm going to come to you first. We're seeing all 10 champions now. Which one of these drafts would you rather be playing right now? Would you rather be piloting the Tristana or the Corki here?
I would probably rather be the Tristana. I think the game for Tristana to carry is much easier than the game for Corki to carry.
Isaac, what about you? Which one of these?
I think the drafts are pretty close, honestly. Like, I do think both teams got some pretty strong stuff. You know, I think the junglers are pretty similar, the mid laners are pretty similar. I give the edge in bot to FlyQuest in their draft. I give the edge to Dignitas in top. Both teams have pretty good playmaking, so maybe slightly favoring Dig, just because I think Poppy is such a strong pick into both the Kalista and the Renekton, and has that additional playmaking, kind of when compared to that Renekton. But I think it's going to be close, and I'm really excited for this first game.
I'm so ready, man. FlyQuest versus Dignitas, the trash talk leading up to it, the events of the rosters that played out between the spring split and now. This one should hopefully be really interesting, because these are both two squads that people have varying degrees of expectations for here in the summer split. APA, I'm sure you know, most people have you guys ranked up at the top. Dignitas and FlyQuest all over the middle, depending on whoever's tier list that you look at, right? Obviously, you said that you're favoring FlyQuest overall in this matchup, right?
Yeah.
But I still feel like it might be able to go either way.
It'll be very close.
Yeah, this could still be Dig season.
Yeah, I don't think it's one-sided. It could be Dig season. You could be looking at Tree Quest or whatever their slogan is now. Yeah. Personally, what I'm excited for is to keep an eye on the all chat, because I know some of these players are not against all chatting.
We have nice to meet you so far. So nothing too vicious going down in the all chat. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially if it starts getting spicy, you know, between maybe Jensen and Inspired. If there's any all chatting going on there, would be exciting. But so far, just some Jensen. Pleasantries in the chat.
Saying good luck.
Very polite. You gotta make sure that you lull them into a false sense of security. That
They're
way
nice people right now.
Yeah, exactly, right? Everybody's just coming out here shaking hands.
Or you slam them with the vicious trash talk.
Once that scoreboard doesn't have zeros up at the top, that's when you can start typing a little bit more. But doesn't look like we're going to get anything super interesting here at level 1. Maybe a potential delayed invade.
Looks like Dignitas potentially looking for a lane swap here. That's what I was keeping my eye out from the draft alone. And then, it just looks like they're opting into it.
Yeah, I mean, Kaisa Leona sounds absolutely miserable.
The lane first few levels, yep.
Yeah, exactly. The first couple levels. You definitely need to get something going. It's going to be nice because they're also going to have Poppy with this leash. Poppy Q obviously very good on the Raptors. Brand starts W. Going to be clearing this out really, really fast. And Poppy's just going to walk along with him and be able to get this clear going very, very quickly. Where on the other side, Inspired obviously has no leash, so his first camp is going to go a lot more slowly. So we'll see what Spica can actually get done on this first clear, and if he can maybe cross back down towards bot side and get some extra
coming
camps.
Up into the red buff, seeing potentially what he can do. I don't know if he knows.
Now he knows. So now he's going to probably try to go into vertical jungling, but we'll see if Spica is ahead enough that he can actually maybe go down and cross over to his red after this or something along those lines.
Depending on how this mid lane prowl goes, it's actually quite hard for Inspired to get into the red side jungle. I guess you do have massive bot gap, but even just the Raptor raid can be a little bit tricky with Jensen.
Yeah, absolutely. So just going to have to keep our eyes on Spica and see where he wants to go. He is pinging that he's going over towards Wolves. There's question mark things kind of over on Raptors. So they don't have exact info on where Inspired is, but they do have a ward over by their own Raptors. So if Inspired walks in through that area, they would have known, but it did now Inspire.
Licorice living the top lane dream here in the lane swap.
0 CS, 0 CCS, yes.
Hanging out in the brush.
The top lane matchup of kings.
He's still having a better time than Whippo, though.
He leashed, so it's top gap.
He at least had a slightly more entertaining side quest to participate in.
There you go, he just got some EXP. The EXP advantage over Whippo is crazy right now.
Loving life up here.
1 CS as well. He's on the board, baby.
Wow.
All right.
That's more than top laners usually get.
Top gap.
Yeah, this is crazy top gap.
Whippo needs to take some notes.
You can see it right there on the scoreboard, plus 14 gold from that caster minion. That's
They canceled their recalls. Whippo knows that they're there. I wonder if he's going to walk up and try to just make them cancel again. Would be pretty risky to do so. So it is just going to be completed recalls.
Yep.
Whippo now gets to walk back. He's going to be able to get a lot of this XP, and we'll be able to pick up a fair bit of farm here. It looks like there's about 6 minions there for him to pick up. So the top gap is going to go the other way now.
While we are watching that top lane play, though, mid lane has become very spicy. You can see both mid laners are under half HP. So I'm curious to see if Jensen either chooses to take a reset or, yeah, says he's better and tries a 1-for-1 trade against Quad.
Yeah, meanwhile, Inspired securing that bottom side Scuttle Crab for FlyQuest, pathing back up into his own jungle now. Jensen has this lane pushed up in mid, but it's not like Inspired has any sort of an opportunity to make a play on him here. As you can see, Spica clearing out the top side Scuttle himself now on the brand. Both these guys at about the same pace, but Spica's going to go for the invade here yet again, recognizing that Jensen has control over mid. He has the push there. Spica wants to be able to contest, at least for the big chicken, and it looks like that one will be stolen away. Nicely done there from the Dignitas jungler.
That's big. On the second Raptor respawn, that's always like a big priority from when you do lane swaps. And for Spica to be able to end up getting the big one, I don't know how many small wins he got, but I think he got at least one. It's pretty big for him.
Yeah, so far though, it is FlyQuest with a slight gold lead, about 500 across the board. They do have those little edges in every single role right now, and of course Masu, as well as Busio, they got the 2-blade spot, so they have a decent little advantage for themselves, but Zen and Isles I think are going to be pretty happy with how this game is going, being able to actually get through, as the Zenith Blade going to whiff. Spica's behind them though.
They know about Spica.
They don't know.
It does not appear so. Busio and Masu going to have to be careful about this one. Spica makes his entry. Masu and Busio, they aren't afraid about this at all. Spica now having to flash away as the re-engage comes out from Isles, but now he has to flash too. 3v2. These boys are losing it. Dignitas is getting styled. And FlyQuest make them look silly.
Man, that was really well played. Busio just charged straight back towards the brand, forced him to use abilities on him, then stayed in the wave. So even though he got the E, he could never actually hit him with the C or the Q to get the stun. And then once you've spent the spell there, there's no way to actually fight back.
At the start, you see Leona missed her Zenith Blade, so it's so hard for them to engage. And if Brand has no setup, how does he do damage? You know, like you said, it's so hard to land this Q onto Busio when he plays in the wave.
Exactly, just playing right in the wave. They got the early chunk as well, so they try to step forward. Spica's forced out. Isles goes back in, but Cleanse was always available, so this is just really good stuff here from FlyQuest, even with the lane swap, avoiding the early levels. Masu and Busio playing very confident.
Yeah, very, very well played by them. This is also massive for the jungle pick.
The coaches are loving it. Maybe Dignitas should have avoided a couple more levels here in the bottom lane because that was not ideal. FlyQuest up over 1,000 gold now as Busio's coming around mid lane. Jensen going to try to get away from this one. The handshake.
So close.
Forcing the flash out from Jensen even after he uses the rocket jump to make his initial escape.
Still not the biggest thing, but I think the bigger thing is just that since Spica used one of his turns bot side, he's now down 2 camps and then Inspire's getting free grubs. So he's potentially down 3 camps or even more if they can invade top side.
Yeah, that is really big. And Licorice, you know, is going to take his first base now on top side. He will have to TP back and catch this wave. Bwipo, of course, does still have his TP, but Dignitas at the very least will take 1 grub away, which is actually quite big. You get a lot of bonus XP on that first grub, and of course it is, you know, denying any potential 6 grub take or anything like that.
Potentially they look for a 3rd Raptor invade of the game.
Well, also very close to level 6 here for Inspired on the Taliyah. Big playmaking potential once that ultimate comes online, as Busio just going to encounter Sven there a little bit as they make their way back towards the bottom lane. Jensen still has his ultimate to be able to escape if FlyQuest tries to make another move onto him. Dead even farm here in the mid lane. That Tristana Corki handshake is just going blow for blow so far.
I think this is actually when the Corki matchup starts to become a little bit more favorable for him.
With the tier 2 boots.
Once he gets tier 2 shoes and some levels in his queue, you can actually start to like win the trades like you can see here.
So talk to me a little bit about the Tabby's Rush. Obviously, this is becoming really popular. We're seeing even Merchad's Rush. Obviously, it's strong for the 1v1, but, you know, do you think, you know, it is worth the trade-off of having that later 1-item power spike? You know, do you think it's just so important to have Prio in that 1v1?
I think it's definitely situational, but when the lane is so close like this, the Tabbies will end up just winning you now. And now, every time Quad can take like a Q chunk, you're always going to win these small trades out, like you can see here. Like just, you can keep poking and poking and poking, and if you end up sniping him with a big rocket or a Q, he's going to just get such a big HP advantage where Tristana can't even win the 1v1 anymore.
So when you're playing it from the Tristana side, though, now that Tabbies are actually completed, what should Jensen be looking to do, knowing he's going to lose some of these trades? Are you just trying to mostly avoid trading, focus on pushing the wave, farm it out, and wait until you have that Kraken spike when Corki's not going to have an item completed?
You don't have to like fully wait it out, but you definitely lose. If you have some like finesse to the fights and you can dodge his Q, you can dodge his ulti, you can definitely win. But you're just not doing a whole lot of damage because you just, like he just has Tabbies. There's not a whole lot you can do into that.
up top side. Let's check in on how things are going with the Renekton versus Poppy matchup. You guys were both applauding Licorice on the Poppy, recognizing the fact that this guy is one of the experienced Poppy players here in the LCS. Things are pretty stock standard up there right now, but the 1v1 back in mid lane. Jensen's in danger. Has to use that buster shot to keep Quad away. The power of that Corki so threatening right now.
Yeah, that got a little bit risky. It looked like Jensen was just focusing on trying to push in that wave, wanted to kill off the last cannon, and Quad is hitting him, exactly.
Yeah. No, yeah, this matchup around, especially like level 7 with this power spike from Corki, can get super dicey, so once you see Tristana starting losing those matchups, you start to panic a little bit. You know, he's already lost TP, he's lost flash to Buso coming mid, so you're like, you're not in the best spot, and then you can't really get help. Yeah. So he just needs any avenue out, so he has to waste the ultimate, which kind of blows, but it's not the biggest thing in the world.
So if you're Dignitas, you know, put yourself in the shoes of Jensen, as we may see a kill here. Sven getting low. They could threaten a dive, but we'll be okay for now. You know, how are you thinking about actually playing back into this game? Because obviously you are starting to bleed out in this game. Your bot lane is very far behind. You don't have a ton of playmaking on the Tristana. Are you just trying to slow it down and play through sides, or what would be the plan? I
mean, to be honest, there's really not much you can do until you get the Kraken Slayer. Once you get the Kraken Slayer, you can start to become very aggressive and like take extended trades versus Corki, and with the ramp up of Kraken Slayer, you can just straight up 1v1 kill him. But right now it's looking just a bit rough. The bot lane's looking rough. Mid lane's, you know, just in a bad spot for the matchup itself. Everyone else is just in a stalemate. Like the top lane counter pick, even though you do have counter pick, you're just even in CS.
Yeah, I mean, this whole game has basically just been about that 2v3 bot, right? You win into the lane swap, so you're opting into giving up 2 plates guaranteed to them. Then you lose the 2v3. All of a sudden, the matchup becomes unplayable. You're stuck under your tower. You're not going to be able to even fight back. No matter what engage Isles finds, you're going to lose it. So it's really tough to play from that spot.
It's a 3,500 gold lead, not even 11 minutes into the game, and you can see the gray hourglass there in the grub pit for that second set of those that's about to be ready to spawn now, and it's perfectly synced up with taking out that tier 1 turret in the bottom lane from FlyQuest's side. So now they can bring up that powerhouse Kalista and Renata. You've got the first item fully completed now on the Kalista there with the opportunity, and Dignitas is going to try to at least take something here, but FlyQuest are making their way over. First grub belongs to Dig.
Scared. This fight is so scary. Kalista's the only person in the map with the item, so she's so strong coming into this fight. Great Tally wall.
Inspired blocks everybody off, forces the flash over the wall from Spica, and it looks like Licorice is the sacrifice. FlyQuest are going to pick up a kill. They're going to have control over the topside river. They're going to get these last 2 grubs.
Honestly, that wall from Inspired was just insane. It trapped like 4 people in that little corner there, and just either forces them to die like Licorice did, or like use your flash out.
Yeah, that was a really nice angle on the wall. They clearly just wanted to try to get 1 grub, and so they did get the 1 grub. They tried to get out, but they weren't able to do so in time because of Inspired coming in. And they just know they can't fight anything, and this gold lead is just going to get worse and worse. You know, basically the entire gold lead is almost in bot lane. That's 2.7k of the 3.8. So anywhere Masu is, you don't want to fight, right?
And just look at this wall. Such an insane angle, traps 3 people. I think Spica ends up flashing out. Jensen either jumps out, I believe, and then Licorice ends up getting caught by the handshake and just, you know, sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, Jensen waiting on the rocket jump just to make sure that he doesn't get caught by any CC. Lets that hostile takeover get out of the way first. But man, it is rough right now for Dignitas. Total gold on the left side of your screen. Masu so far out in front of everybody else, man. This Kalista is a problem for Dignitas.
And once you win lane this hard, this early into the game, you can now just swap into the top lane and you can start doing the same thing top lane. Like, you're so far ahead, you can just start beating on this top lane turret, which I'm sure you're going to see within the next minute.
So how do we stop this, boys? If you're wearing Dignitas jerseys right now, what are we doing?
We're going late.
Well, I did talk about when Tristana does get Kraken, so I think this is when the matchup can start to shift a little bit in favor of the Tristana side. So I think now she can start to get prowl, potentially even fight very aggressively because she does have the item advantage over the Corki. But the bot lane matchup is looking quite tough right now. I don't know if there's any salvaging that.
No, I don't think there is. I mean, I think you're having to look towards playmaking in 5v5s, right? Anytime you're playing against a Renata, single target burst is not really going to do it in generally. So I think you're relying on the brand, and you're also relying on things like the Poppy ult. If you can eject someone out of the fight, if you can hit a Masu or a Quad or an Inspired out of the fight, you can maybe take it. with an odd-numbered matchup there.
Ooh, nice handshake again there from Busio. Been hitting these really reliably so far on the Renata, causing so many problems for Dignitas down in the bottom lane and now even making his passes up through mid. And you can see all the control that FlyQuest currently has over that topside river with all the vision they've been able to establish.
And they end up just putting Masu out in the mid lane and then Quad's going top lane. So I think for pretty much the next few minutes, they're just going to have guaranteed mid prio up here.
And a flash from the Dignitas top laner as well. Licorice having to escape as Inspired once again being so threatening here on the Taliyah with that Blackfire torch already completed. This dude is scary. Everybody on FlyQuest is pretty scary right now for Dig. It is a threatening game state. Masu just continuing to push up in mid lane here. The damage on these spears, man, with the lethality build on Kalista, it hurts so bad.
Yeah. Even Bwipo, who's been having a relatively quiet game, nothing happening top lane, he's already at his 1-9 power spike to Licorice's just components, so even he is a scary force to reckon with right now.
And it looks like Inspired is not going to be challenged whatsoever here for the second Drake. So FlyQuest, they've got 4 grubs to 2, 2 kills to nothing, 1 turret to nothing, and they're up the first 2 Drakes as well. Pretty much everything in these first 14.5 minutes of gameplay has gone their way, and it seems like they came into this game with a plan, and it's paying off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just really has been all about the bot lane so far for FlyQuest. You know, they created that massive advantage. That's going to get them pretty much every objective because no one can fight as long as Masu is there. So Dig is going to have to kind of choose their moment. It is also going to be Hextech Dragon, which is really unfortunate when you lose the early ones. You're kind of hoping that maybe it's going to be a Chemtech Soul or something that's a little bit less desirable. But Hextech going to make that even worse. So Dignitas are going to have to decide, do they actually want to try to wait and challenge at the 4th dragon and risk a potential soul off a flip, or are you going to try to challenge actually at this next dragon to prevent them from getting to soul point? Because FlyQuest are just going to keep snowballing objectives.
Even before the dragon spawn, FlyQuest just has so much control wherever Inspired and Busio end up walking. They were bot side, they have so much control bot side, now they're top side, they're just taking Rift Toe, they take Dragon. It becomes a point, when do they start to when does Dignitas start to play?
Honestly, I think that would be a pretty kick-ass feature if we could have spectator all chat.
We do actually have spectator all chat.
Do I get fined if I type?
But we're not going to do it.
All right. Maybe in the future. Maybe
we can get in there for a show match or something.
Maybe we save that for playoffs. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, cook a little bit later on. But we do have the Rift Herald also going to be picked up there by FlyQuest. You can see the golden outlines alongside that Herald, alongside those turrets. Dignitas is so far behind. They already have objective bounties if they can manage to find anything. But there's just nothing on the Rift that FlyQuest is allowing them to get even close to. You can see Jensen forced out of this top side matchup as soon as he runs into Quad in the river. The Corki's having none of it.
I mean, you can just look at the vision, right? You look at the vision on the map, and it's just all going to be on their side of the map. They only have defensive vision.
They're just suffocated in.
They're completely suffocated. It's so hard to go anywhere on the map because any sort of even fight, even numbers fight, you lose, and you don't know where anyone is. They've got no info, and it makes it so difficult from this position. You have to, at the very least, be able to defend your own jungle camps to try to, keep that gold income coming, or you're going to bleed out.
And I like the fact that you're talking about even-numbered fights because you're also up against Taliyah, who can instantly change even a fair fight to an unfair one, as Jensen's jumping in after Quad, but Quad's ready to fire right on back. Busio making his way up through the tri-brush, looking for the dive. Jensen gets away as the teleports are coming in for both sides, but Jensen's going to die on the back end anyway. Meanwhile, you got Isles going in after Masu. Shut down back over to Leona as Licorice is in a 1v2. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get himself away from this one, and they cut him down. Sven and Isles on the run, but they're running into the FlyQuest jungle. Sven gets away, but Bwipo is ready and waiting. There's the barrier. I don't think that's going to do a damn thing. Ace for FlyQuest.
And that just might be the nail in the coffin for this game for Dignitas.
7K gold lead, 17 minutes in. FlyQuest slammed the door shut on Dig. Jensen TP'd back in. He had the tier 2 boots. He obviously had the Kraken for a while, and he felt like he could take Quad confidently. He jumps forward, and he just started getting blasted in that 1v1. Fell very far behind early on here. Looked like a couple canceled autos as well. And then you're in this spot where you can't take the 1v1 anymore, so all he can do is run, but the flash is there to follow him. Busio is behind him. Inspired is in the area. They're skirmishing on the other side. They did get this early kill on Amasu, which maybe gives you a little bit of hope, but then you realize your soul laners are both losing.
Everyone else is so strong.
Exactly.
And I think the terrible thing about this fight for Dig is they lost quite literally, I think, every single flash in the game. I don't think any of them have flash up. So now, like going into this, like, I mean, you can see it here. Jensen just doesn't have flash. How does he live?
I don't think he does, buddy. This is a pretty bad spot.
Here comes Inspired.
Tristana to be in. Inspired is gonna find him, sets it up for Quad. Easy peasy for FlyQuest. This game just feels totally hopeless now for Dignitas. There's no room to move. There's no room to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in Dignitas' shoes right now, I don't know what to do. You can't win silent. You can't win team fights. You can't do anything. Like, I just don't know what to do.
Yeah, Inspired gets first blood in the Jensen versus Inspired matchup.
Yep.
Perhaps more important than the FlyQuest versus Dignitas matchup.
There we go. One ding. One takedown on Jensen for Inspired. Honestly, man, there's still only that one kill this whole game for Dignitas. Yes, it was the kill on Masu, like you pointed out in the replay, Azael. But when the kill on the Callista comes at the cost of your whole team,
and everyone's that ahead now, right? Like, that's the problem, is that they committed everything to trying to kill off Masu, but Quad and Inspired are just as fed at this point. You know, you're looking across the board, it's almost an entire item ahead for Inspired. Yeah, he just actually now has his tier 2 boots as well, so pretty much a full item up on Spica. Mid lane monstrously ahead as well. There's just no real area to look towards.
Quad was able to farm top lane tier 1, bot lane tier 1, I believe, or bot lane tier 2, so he just has such a massive gold advantage, even though, like, he himself has not been the one in a lot of these plays.
And there's the answer for the question that we posed earlier. Will Dignitas try to challenge for an earlier Drake, or will it all come down to the soul? Well, there was no way for them to even get to this third Drake on time. FlyQuest now at soul point, as Isles threw out the Zenith Blade there looking for Busio, but he ain't gonna find it. As Dignitas again, just returning back to their own side of the map. They have no vision, even up in the river, man. Just that one ward in the pixel brush. Everything else just trying to defend, hold on to whatever scraps of Summoner's Rift they still have, because the map is getting smaller and smaller for them.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, I think you're at the point in the game where they know they're insanely far behind. You just overload one side of the map, pray you get a pick, pray someone is playing a little bit disrespectfully, and keep looking for these 3v1s, these 4v2s, these kind of plays.
Farm the bounties, yeah.
Exactly. That's all you can really do, is you play towards bounties, you play towards maybe overloading a side and trading for a turret, try to get the objective bounty there, and then you fight for soul, you fight for Baron, nothing else.
Oh, Quad gets jumped on, but now he can immediately just jump back away. Isles is on the front line, and he immediately falls. Quad's gonna take another kill. Dignitas now down a man, and they're about to be down another. Sven trying to escape from Inspired, but it ain't gonna work. Inspired goes on a killing spree. FlyQuest just killed 2, and Baron is next in their sights.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to take this Baron, no problem. Dignitas, they just decide, all right, there's Quad, let's send it. You know, you have to take a flip at some point.
Something at this point of the game. It's
exactly.
So far behind, like, you know, it potentially looked like a good pick. Sadly, you're just down 10,000 gold, so it didn't work out.
Yeah, 10,000 gold, and Busio decided that Mikhail's is a great item to buy when the only chance they have is making a pick with the Leona. FlyQuest pick up the Baron, absolutely no contest. 11,500 gold ahead. Spica's gonna face check into the brush. That is not where he wanted to go. He luckily gets to get away there without having to spend a
Whippo
flash.
was just merciful.
Yeah, Whippo's just kind of like, you know what,
he felt bad.
Yeah.
He felt bad for Spica. Didn't want to ruin his KDA that much.
He could beat him, and then he backed up. I mean,
this is what I could do to you.
Exactly. Knowing what we know is just Isles, he probably could have easily taken him down, but he doesn't know, of course, who else is in the area, and if Kaisa is maybe trailing or something like that, then I think that's kind of what he was worried about. But either way, FlyQuest 11,000 gold lead. They're at Soul Point. They have Baron and Dignitas. I think they're just thinking about game number 2 after this one, where it's tough because it is a very stompy game, but at the same time, I think you do have a little bit of the cope of just saying, well, the bot lane gank went that bad, and that was kind of the game.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see what Dignitas does in draft, because I'm personally not the biggest fan of Leona Kaisa into the Callisto matchup, especially when Busio gets R5 counter pick, and he's so good at like these counter pick supports.
Yeah. So do you think then the mistake was letting your bot lane picks fall to the second round, right? Because there were so many bans thrown towards it, or was there a specific pick you would have still preferred them go, even with everything that had been banned out?
I think it differs from team to team, but I think, like, to me, Ezreal and Varus are like 2 big components to match with the Leona once Callisto's gone. And then since you drop your ADC to 4-5, they just get banned out. And then it's like, well, now what do you do? Now you have to go Kaisa, but then Kaisa's just not that good into Callisto.
And you could see the damage up there in that top lane. Sven losing half HP to an auto attack and a rocket from Quad right now, who does have the Trinity Force, plus the Muramana fully evolved, ready to go. Zeal in inventory halfway there to the third completed item. Now just have to back up a little bit as Licorice can at least hold on to the tier 2 here in the mid lane. FlyQuest still commanding the Baron for a little bit more than 1 additional minute. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised they didn't just torpedo right down one of the lanes and break right into the base from this one.
Well, Soul does come up in a minute and 10 seconds, so if you're FlyQuest side, you can say, instantly you get Soul. It's such a broken Soul, Hextech Soul. Once you get it, you win the game, so maybe they're just playing for that.
Well, it definitely appears to be that way as FlyQuest are gathering their forces here in the bottom side river. Inspired just going to pick up the camps on the way there. Masu securing the Scuttle Crab here for the team. And with the wards being placed down, Dignitas being forced back, it looks like FlyQuest know exactly what they're going for. And what they're going for is Isles. He has to flash the seismic shove just to get away. The Weaver's wall will collapse in time for him to complete his escape, but what about Jensen? He's now the guy who's got to be careful. Isles goes in with a Zenith Blade. They've locked up Quad, but it ain't gonna matter. Isles down to 200 HP. Quad dies first. Nicely done from Dignitas, but it is gonna be a mid laner for mid laner trade. 4v4, but Sven and Isles are both at death's door. They have to try to get away from this one, but Whippo's still chasing him. Spica wants to get out, but it ain't gonna happen. Masu gets the kill as Whippo's flash stun set it up. Licorice, Sven, and Isles all still running. They have no way to try to contest this upcoming Drake here in about 10 seconds. Sven's still at about 100 HP, trying to get away from Whippo. He escapes for now. They're trying to turn their attention back over to the FlyQuest top laner, but it ain't going to matter. Licorice knocks the Croc
straight back
away.
to Sven.
That is all not.
And Licorice doesn't even live.
They just passed the ball over to him. A turret kills him. I guess that's about the best thing you can hope for on Dignitas' side right now. A double kill for Inspired, a delayed ace for FlyQuest, and there's your Hex Soul.
It's an alley-oop for your top lane, bro. You know, just give him one up there to Whippo.
Don't kill me, you can kill this guy.
At the very least, he does get the execute, but this one's pretty much all done but the crying. They're going to grab the soul as well. There's clearly no chance for Dignitas in this first game, but they are trying to find angles, trying to find windows, but it just doesn't matter. Even if you get the one kill, when you're this far behind, you have to commit so many resources to that one kill that you have no ults, you have no summoners, you have nothing left, and you're chunked, and then all of a sudden you have to deal with four other
guys who are also God.
Uh-oh. We, looks like we got even more problems. Another beautiful handshake from Busio. Uses the flash to guarantee another death for Jensen.
See, I thought the series was going to be close, but honestly, after watching game 1, I'm not so convinced.
Yeah, this is not a good showing from Dig. FlyQuest are just stomping them 16-2, and now with the enemy mid laner and AD carry both dead for the next 25 seconds, it should be real easy for FlyQuest to wrap up this first game.
This might be the push here.
Yeah, first inhibitor turret's already gone. Inhibitor's gonna follow. Here comes the Weaver's wall just to make defending that much more impossible. Spica again gonna be forced to flash just to try to stay alive. Whippo gets stunned as he goes in, and he'll kill the enemy jungler right on the steps of the fountain. It's another ace for FlyQuest. It's a 19-2 game, and it ain't even close. Jensen's alive. They're still looking to make an extra statement here. They're still looking to prove their point and rub Dignitas' faces in it. FlyQuest are taking it slow and steady because they already won the race. Sven at least gets a kill on Busio, but it's 19-3, and FlyQuest absolutely stopped them.
Wow, that was a statement game. FlyQuest absolutely obliterate Dignitas. It was almost as many thousands of gold ahead as for minutes that were played in the game. Like, this was like a 20K gold lead at 27 minutes. The minions don't even spawn until a minute 30. This was a crazy game.
I think massive props, honestly, to the FlyQuest bot lane. They outplayed the 2v3 gank. They played well in the lane swap, and then just, I don't know, they ran over the game.
Yeah, Busio was everywhere. After they got that massive lead, you talked about how it felt like there was nowhere Dignitas could play on the map because anywhere Busio and Inspired were, they were unbeatable. And he really was everywhere. He had such a big effect on this game. That young bot lane for FlyQuest making such a difference in this first match.
Awesome show from FlyQuest for game number 1. And a reminder, tickets are officially on sale for the LCS Championship at the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles. Head over to Ticketmaster.com to claim your spot. Hell yeah, boys, we're going to be there. As we head to break, let's check in with our most recent MasterCard Player of the Week, Sven.
What's up, guys? We got MasterCard Player of the Week for Week 2, Sven here. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, bro.
God, you're back. You instantly win it in Week 2. How's it been overall?
I think this is my first Player of the Week since I play support as well. I didn't get a single Player of the Week. It's good to be back.
We're just disrespecting support players.
Yeah, we really are.
Oh my God. So we're doing something different since the last few years with our Player of the Week interviews. Basically, I've got 90 seconds, rapid fire questions. You can decline them and move next if you want to, but I hope that you don't do that.
Am I getting grilled or what?
A little bit.
Okay, hit me.
So we'll see. You ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, go. Messiest teammate.
Speaker.
Biggest coper on the team.
Jensen.
Biggest griefer.
Jensen. And Speaker. They can share that one.
Okay, they're sharing that award?
Yeah.
What has playing support taught you personally?
AD carry players are too greedy or too selfish at times.
Yeah? What annoys you the most about support players now that you've gone out of that role?
Decline. I don't know. I don't have one.
Okay. Least likely to survive on their own?
Speaker.
Who's the biggest talker?
Me and Speaker.
Okay. Top 3 AD carries in the league. And you can add yourself if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Me, Berserker, Yon.
Who did you learn from the most in your career? Be it like a support that you worked with or a coach?
Mithy.
Mithy. What AD carry do you watch to learn from the most? Or just out of entertainment?
Elk.
Warmog's nerf or Skarner buff? Or nerf? So which nerf would you want between Warmogs and Skarner?
Well, Skarner's getting nerfed next patch already, so Warmogs, I guess.
What champ?
I don't really care about Warmogs, honestly.
Okay, you don't. Well, okay. What champ do you int on the most?
Decline.
Where did Niels come from? That name that you had before you changed it to Sven.
It was just like a joke I had with an old friend, and it just kind of just stuck. I forgot to change it before the season started, and I got locked in for a year.
Okay. You got locked in, you found a chance to all that?
Yeah.
All right, so that rounds out the questions overall. Man, you've had, so how's it been just coming back into the league?
It's nice. The team atmosphere is really good. We lose every scrim, but the team is doing well. The atmosphere is really nice, like I said, and everyone's having a lot of fun, and I do think we're improving slowly, but it's like we're playing better on stage than we are in scrims, which is it's a good thing, but also a bad thing because we can't really scrim, you know?
Yeah.
So it's it's not too good. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Last question. What season is it?
The Dig season.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations. Maybe you get another Player of the Week in the weeks to come.
Yeah.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Smackdown money matches. That's right, money. You heard it, money. What do you want for your birthday, Billy? Money. A Smackdown so big, we needed 2 weeks for the fight. Money Mania for weeks 4 and 5. Teams will have 2 of their series upgraded to money matches, where a cash prize will be on the line. Catch bangers like who's the best LCS affiliated team, who's the better new kid on the block, which university will reign supreme. Money Mania weeks 4 and 5. Miss it anyway, money.
Welcome back to the LCS Summer 2024. We are in the middle of Dignitas versus FlyQuest. Trash was talked. Rivalries were sparked up. Dudes were getting heated. And then game number one,
Dignitas was slammed.
It was a beatdown. You probably can't even show that in some states. It was just brutality. And Dignitas are going to have to find something better here in this second game. Let's see how they change it up. It's Kalista immediately banned out. They do not want to deal with that one again. Triple champ bans from Dignitas, the Kalista, the Ashe, the Senna. Meanwhile, on FlyQuest, they're going to remove the Zyra alongside those two top-tier top laners in the Rumble and Skarner. But yes, the Karthus being left up, that's the big difference from draft number one here in the bans, as Leona is once again prioritized for Dig.
Exactly, and Inspired has been prioritizing that Karthus quite a bit here. Those drawings are sick.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Every time I see people with drawings like that, I always wish I could draw something better than a stick figure.
It's hard, man.
It's tough.
It's hard to even write your name and have it look good.
Once I learned the magic of signing by just making the first letter
just
and then
do a little
scribble,
squiggle? Yeah.
No,
That's OP.
Yeah, I actually don't remember how to write cursive at all. I literally don't know. So squiggles forever, man. But we got that Leona for Dig. FlyQuest's gonna go ahead, grab themselves the Ezreal. And do they really want to go for this brand? Or is this just the, hey, we know that you just played this and inted on it, so we're just going to remind you of that real quick before we lock in our pick?
It might be a little bit of that, but Dignitas have got to fight back in game two to keep this a rivalry and stop it from being bullying.
Yes!
Because FlyQuest crushed them in game number one, but I think if you were coming in this series, even if you thought FlyQuest was going to win, I don't think you would have thought that it was the bot lane that crushed Dignitas.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't have thought that was the way it was going to happen. And to me, game one was so much about the bot lane. They forced the lane swap with the matchup, then they played the lane swap well. They win this 2v3, which was really what blew everything wide open. Then they had so much prio bot that they're taking all 5 plates and the tower bot. They're getting all dragons, all objectives. Busio is roaming around the map, creating advantages for Quad and Inspired as well. I just think it was really impressive to see this youngster bot lane crushing it like that.
Busio was my MVP for game number one, and it was not close. This guy set up everything. He made everything constantly happen. Those handshakes, the hostile takeovers being placed beautifully alongside the walls from Inspired. This time around, though, we're going to get the same 2 champions in mid lane. I mean, it's Tristana Corki. It's summer 2024.
Yeah.
This is the way League of Legends is played, but it's the other way around this time. Jensen going to be playing that Corki, which he is more experienced on.
Yeah, exactly. He really is a lot more experienced on it. And it's going to be interesting because, you know, when the Ezreal got locked in, I was thinking, hey, this could actually be going mid because we've seen Quid kind of popularize that in the LCS. And of course, it is now going to be going down to Masu unless they're doing something really crazy. Triss can still be played bot, but it's almost exclusively played mid and pro.
Yeah.
So we are definitely expecting these to be kind of standard roles. It is the Kai'Sa again, which is kind of interesting because it really did not work out in that first game, but I think their read is that it's less about the Kai'Sa and more about the Kalista, and taking the Kalista away, they're going to feel confident. When you think back to the kind of olden days where Kai'Sa was really popular and in every single game for a long time, Kai'Sa was kind of considered this like pseudo counter into Ezreal because Ezreal couldn't really punish in lane, and then you could actually win 1v1s by getting aggressive. You know, you E forward, you get the plasma on them, then when they shift back, you are into follow, and you kind of win this 1v1. So people considered that an advantageous matchup for the Kai'Sa. We'll see if that ends up being a point of power for Dignitas, though, because they spent a lot of their draft priority on getting these bot lane picks.
Yeah, and looking at the draft here in the second half, I like FlyQuest's focus because they ban out those 2 remaining high-tier AP junglers. We heard APA talking about it in game number one, saying, hey, it's the Karthus and the Zyra that are the top tier, and then below them is the Brand. A little bit below that is the Talia. So we'll see what Dignitas wants to pilot. Azale, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to see Nidalee. If I see Nidalee, I'm going to tilt.
I am not a fan of Nidalee at all. You know, there are other options. If it is a melee-heavy team, it's not really a melee-heavy team, but you can sometimes see things like Lilia. I actually think low-key Rumble Jungle is not too bad. There are a lot of...
It's banned, though.
Yeah, excuse me, yeah. But like even just talking about like as far as like solo queue tier, there are a lot of AP jungle options you can go. You can go different routes, like things like Ivern, obviously not bringing a lot of AP damage, but it is another one of those junglers that can be pretty powerful. It is going to be the Nidalee though, and it is going to be Nidalee Cassante. Nidalee Leona, at least you have a little bit of setup. Flowers looks very sad right now. It's got the 1,000-yard stare. Nidalee is just not something that has really been working out in the LCS. Honestly, the only league it's really looking good in is the LPL. And then, of course, like Gen.G looks good, but Gen.G kind of just looks good with everything.
I feel like that's more of a Gen.G thing than a Nidalee thing.
Exactly, right? But when I look at win rates for the different leagues, it was really only the LPL that had a good win rate. This was last week, but the LCK had around a 40% win rate for Nidalee. LCS was like winless. LEC, hadn't really been playing it at all. The first game that I saw them play, they lost on it as well. So it's just really only been something that has been really successful in kind of really heavy skirmish leagues, and that's why some people are thinking, hey, maybe this is more successful in the LPL because these teams are just kind of fighting a lot early, and that's maybe causing the Nidalee to be able to kind of get into these advantageous positions. But especially against Karthus, like, you don't really even outpace the Karthus as far as farming at all, and there's a lot of pressure on you to get things done early. I will say, I don't think Nidalee is as extremely early game as it used to be because the healing is kind of better than it was in the past. So at least you can kind of be a little bit of kind of pseudo poke and heal. But I agree that it is not the pick that I would love to see. And I think looking over at what FlyQuest have drafted, it is going to be a really tough game for Dig. The Poppy also got moved down towards bot, and it's Hail of Blades Poppy for Busio. I'm not
scrappy Poppy.
That is kind of crazy. I don't know if I've really seen Hail of Blades Poppy much at all. Like, that is like some throwback like lethality stuff, but then people when they go lethality used to play like electrocute and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hail of Blades is going to be interesting.
I mean, hey man, I am going to give Busio the let him cook pass.
Okay.
After that game number 1, I believe in this dude.
Let him cook.
All right? I want to see what he's ready to bring out for this one. Going up against that Leona Kai'Sa duo again, this time with the Ezreal and the Poppy. I think there's just so much pressure on Spica in particular, because we talk about how game number 1, everything just collapsed right at the start with that 2v3 outplay that FlyQuest made. It's Spica who started that playoff. It was FlyQuest responding to Spica's attempt at a gank. And now, Spica's on a champion that you really want to have some high tempo early with, and I want to see how successful he can be at it, because I think so much of Dignitas's chances in this game are going to be riding on him.
Yep, absolutely. But if you're wondering why this matchup was kind of considered so spicy, there's been a lot of trash talk going back and forth. It kind of started with this Inspired interview after finals where he was kind of putting a lot of the blame onto Jensen. And Jensen, this was his quote in an interview talking about how, he felt like FlyQuest had already made the decision to get rid of him, but just really weren't being honest with him, really weren't telling him. And there was also another kind of similar situation for Spica where he had a lot of frustrations where he had actually found out that he was officially off of the org through Twitter, didn't actually feel that he had been communicated with. So there's a little bit of heat with that. There's also some heat between these players because Jensen and Inspired have been kind of going back and forth on some content now. Bwipo is obviously a very big kind of boisterous personality, and he's going to talk his split whenever he feels like he should. These guys are really confident. And I don't think they're necessarily even seeing it as trash talk. They're just seeing it as like, hey, I'm just being honest about how I feel. If you messed up, I'm going to tell you. But it has created some pretty cool stories and some pretty cool content, and it's created a bit of a rivalry here in the LCS.
It's so much more fun to watch it when it's like that, when you have just that extra little bit of sauce, that extra little bit of spice behind it. Brings me back to the old CLG and TSM days, right? Hotshot and Reggie going at it with who's going to win, having those matchups with so much on the line that everybody got so invested in. But we're zooming out here, taking a look at all 3 lanes. Licorice on that Cassante does have to deal with the terror that is TF top. This guy is such a pain to deal with for so many melee top players.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do kind of have to wonder, did he think it was just going to be Poppy top that he was going to be laning against? Was that a little bit of a curveball? This is going to be the 5th game in major regions this split that Poppy has been played support. Mickey obviously got a lot of attention playing it internationally and has been really good on it for G2. And 3 of these 4 games have been played with the Hail of Blades. So obviously Hail of Blades going to be really aggressive for the laning phase. As Quad just jumping in on Jensen there, taking a nice early trade, and did reset the rocket jump, so could potentially go forward even further. But has to be careful about that cannon that is just pelting him right now and kind of evening out that trade. But it's also just kind of playing, with this really aggressive mindset. I think when you're on Poppy, you have to really be in their face and have to be looking for these plays. Because if you play passively, you just don't get a lot done.
Right, you're just kind of sitting there being like, I guess I can soak skill shots for you or whatever, or stop somebody from dashing. But we can see Inspired making his way down into the bottom lane. He knows that his bot lane is about to try to crash this wave into the turret. He wants to make sure that he's here in case Spica was going to try to make any sort of a move on them, but Spica still just pathing back up towards the top side of the map. It's Inspired who will secure this bottom river scuttle crab. Spica's going to do the same thing up on the other side of things, and honestly, everything's just pretty quiet here in the early game.
Yeah, very, very even across the board, except for that top lane where it is, pretty decent gold lead opening up there for Bwipo. We have to see how many minions are still left to farm for Licorice, of course, as he may just have more to collect. But TF expected to get an advantage in that 1v1, absolutely. And you are just kind of cheating and printing extra gold with that passive. So it's going to be difficult for Licorice, and it's just going to be about him kind of surviving. I do think that Bwipo is someone that they potentially want to target with some of these ganks, and also playing alongside Isles is going to be really important for Spica. They have got to be successful as a duo, moving around, landing the stun on Leona, guaranteeing the spear, having that follow-up to really accelerate Spica and get him into a position where he can play aggressive. But for now, it looks like he's going to look for a wraparound potentially here on Quad.
Nope, just looking out for some chickens. A jungler's best friend. Gotta make sure you keep tabs on those, as Inspired now just going to continue his own farming, picking up the last little tiny Kruggy, and right back into the chickens he goes. So Spica's going to at least be aware of where his enemy is. But Licorice stuck underneath this turret, man. Low health, low mana. Bwipo crashing that big wave in right now. He's already up plus 18. Even if Licorice farms all of these minions, he's not going to make all that up.
No, absolutely. He's still going to be down a good 10 CS pretty much no matter what happens here, which is a pretty difficult situation, but that is kind of the situation you often find yourselves in, especially when it is double combat summoners on the TF. Yep. It even reduces the options of like, oh, he messed up, maybe I can look for an all-in. Well, no, you really can't. It's very, very hard when you are playing against Ghost Flash TF, because if you overcommit to that all-in, you could just get chased down as well, right? So it really limits the options for the Cassante, and it just becomes about loss mitigation and being more valuable later on in the 5v5.
And especially for Cassante, so many times when you see Cassante catch somebody off guard in top lane, it's because they step just a little bit too far forward. They get Cassante'd under the turret and he just displaces you so far. TF never really has to step close enough that Cassante can even do that, right? Yeah. Like the guy's range really ruins so much of that potential setup that Cassante would look for that X factor with. Back in the bottom lane, Dignitas's duo is so much happier with the way things are right now than the way that they were in the previous game.
Absolutely. I mean, and we're just going to have to see, when these opportunities present themselves, can Busio find the angles? Because when you're playing this Halo abilities Poppy, when you're playing Poppy support, he's going to be going Bloodsong, almost guaranteed. And it is just about finding that angle. They step forward for that split second, you flash in, you stun him against the wall, you knock him up, you set up those 100-0 plays. That's really what it is all about. That X factor, being able to reject people, with the step back presses, with that W as they're going in on these dashes as well, is really, really big and going to make Spica's job that much more difficult too, because even if the Nidalee gets to a strong point, if you hit a spear and you want to jump in, all of a sudden you get stunned up by the Poppy as you go in from Poppy's W. Yep. You could just be lights out.
Ooh, Licorice, just when I said he shouldn't be able to find these angles, he finds one. Bwipo popping the ghost though. Licorice might have gone all out, but Bwipo disengages. Now Busio in some trouble. Steadfast presence stops the full Leona engage. Busio has to flash to survive as Masu flash and cleanse, trying to get away from that one. Pardon, just the arcane shift. Flash still in his back pocket, still ready to use that one. Dignitas at least getting some of those summoner spells out of the FlyQuest duo.
Exactly, yeah. It was Isles flashing in there to try to land that stun as Spica went in for the Axew, pouncing forward. Inspired now. There with Quad. Jensen could come over. They do have the extra man here, but the bot lanes are all coming up.
Isles down to 100 HP. He's likely to die. It's first blood over to Quad, but he's going to be traded right on back. Dignitas still looking for the 3v3 here. They know they've got health advantage. Spica wants to find a spear. That one's going to go straight between the targets. And it looks like Dig won't get anything else. A 1-for-1 trade here at the very start. The kill goes over to the Kai'Sa. Sven's going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, he is. Quad as well, though, getting a kill. So both teams getting a kill onto one of their AD carries. Going to be feeling pretty happy about it. And Jensen doesn't even get an assist in there, so is going to fall a little bit behind as far as the gold is concerned, but not too big of a deal. He pushes it out. He is up farm. And back towards top lane now. Licorice just kind of continuing to deal with this punishment. The second plate here about to follow. And he does not have Ghost. He does not have All Out. Flash is still available for Bwipo, so it would be really hard to find an angle for much of anything. Has gone towards the Merc Treads, which are obviously going to be helpful for the gold card, but at the same time, it's mostly physical damage that you are going to be taking, so he's not really that tanky just yet.
Yeah, this Twisted Fate also getting the first 3 grubs FlyQuest setting him up to be able to mine even more money off of this turret. It's just not a fun time up in top lane. FlyQuest's gold lead is almost entirely on Bwipo, on the TF here in top side, as Sven and Isles hanging out inside the tri-brush. Might just try to wrap around on these guys, but they think better of it.
Yeah, they do have the ultimate available now for both Isles and Sven, and there is no cleanse on Masu. So if you could actually connect onto him, there is potential that they could go in, look for an all-in play. And Quad, again, jumping in.
Yeah, Quad is not afraid here on the Tristana in mid lane. You do have that Ninja Tabbies, plated steel caps, whatever you'd like to call them, purchased here for the Corki. So Jensen knows that he's got that extra early power spike compared to what Quad has. Still just not going for that himself. Has the Vamp Scepter. Back down in bottom lane, Masu just firing off that True Shot Barrage. Might be able to cancel a recall there. Yep, Isles going to be stopped on that one. But one thing that I'm watching in this game, Isles has by far the biggest engage potential of anybody on the Rift. FlyQuest's engage tools are pretty limited. They have pick potential, right? Twisted Fate can show up behind somebody. Maybe Poppy gets a good angle. But there's no hard go button on FlyQuest.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be the difficulty for them. You do have a little bit of poke, obviously, with the Ezreal. And we've seen when Karthus really gets going, sometimes the way they start the fight is just with the Karthus ult that softens everyone up and says, you don't get to fight, right? You set up to the objective. You have them walking in, 2 potential gold cards, 2 potential Ezreal poke, and the Karthus damage as well can become very, very difficult. So when they do group up, I think it's going to be a lot about, just these rapid fire gold cards coming out from the TF that are then setting up those other members for the follow-up. So it won't be as much pressure, I think, for them to have that primary engage. And on the other side, I think it's more onus on Dig to be able to find those engages.
And here we go. Hex flash over the wall from Busio. Isles is going nowhere. Masu gets the kill.
Man, Isles is just being tracked everywhere, it feels like. We're watching bot lane, recall after recall after recall getting stopped there by Masu, and he lost so much tempo on the map. We saw that Busio got out on the map, was able to get some wards down on bot side, and that helped actually spot Isles as he was making his own move around, gets spotted on the recall, and Hex Flash over the wall from Busio, stuns him in the wall, sets up another easy kill there for Dig, or on Dig, excuse me, as FlyQuest now open up a nearly 2,000 gold lead.
Bottom lane, 1v1. Here with the AD carries. Sven popping the Killer Instinct. Barrier alongside it. Masu's down to 150 HP. Likely to die with the flash on the wall, but Masu gets the outplay for the kill as Bwipo escapes Spica and Licorice on the other side of the map.
Man, that is devastating for Sven. He even used the barrier, used both his summoners there, flashed over the wall, but the Q came back up, I assume, for Masu, and he just hits him with the Q as he flashes in. That's that matchup that you're supposed to be able to win. That's why people like this. Is what I was talking about in pick and ban. Back in the day when Kai'Sa was played so much, it was considered a really advantageous match because of those situations where you find yourself in the 1v1, take the 1v1, take them down. But Masu finds the outplay, moves to 2-0, and bad goes to worse here for Dig.
Back up to a 2,000 gold lead here, just 11 minutes into the game. Better state than it was in game 1 for Dignitas, but still not what they want to see. Quad goes in for Jensen. Yet again, he's down 1 level, so he doesn't really want to force this any harder. Busio walking up there, just drops the Ignite.
They're going to
keep Sven here. Inspired, throws out the wall. Masu's trying to get the wave pushed up. They don't just want to hard dive Sven underneath the turret, but they are keeping him away from any possible escape avenues. Sven down to 100 HP. Busio's going to eat a turret shot, but Sven's going to eat dirt. Inspired's holding the spoon to feed it to him, and it's a 4-1 game for FlyQuest. Jensen just again always on the receiving end of Quad's aggressive movements here in the mid lane, while Spica and Licorice will at least be able to grab something up in the top side. They got the second trio of grubs. They're going to get the first turret of the game and try to bring this gold lead back to something more controllable. Meanwhile, Inspired's going to take the second Drake, and nobody from Dig is around to stop it.
Yeah, the gold lead shrinking a little bit with that top lane tower take, but again, it is Inspired just power farming here. It's Masu and Busio creating advantages for the squad again. And now Busio up towards topside. He has just been so impactful through both games, really showcasing his stuff here. And Licorice is not out of the woods just yet. And if he goes for a lazy recall, Busio is likely to find him here. We'll see if he does actually check the brush, and now Licorice is going to have to try to get out of there, but he gets knocked back and still could get stopped.
Nicely done. Cassante cannot escape. He tried to get out, but a steadfast presence stops him in his tracks. Busio making the plays.
Nicely done by Busio. Potentially Licorice could have just led with all out when he was kind of behind him, but I think he thought, I can just walk this one out. But at the end of the day, Busio knocks you back, then has that steadfast presence, stops you again. Spica is here. Could look for something if he can find a spear, but they're just going to have to drop it because he's worried that other people are there. So that's 2 waves at least all going down, and multiple plates are going to fall, and your top laner just died. So now it's a 3,000 gold lead here. FlyQuest firmly in the driver's seat here once again, and we can watch this 1v1.
Okay.
Didn't get to actually catch the very beginning of it, but both players trying to sidestep each other over and over again. It looked like Masu was just hitting every single Q, and then Sven making sure he can flash the wall, gets right up against it, flashes over, gets hit by the Q. You can see the frustration on his face. He knows that's what they were looking for. And the frustration from the dig staff as well. They know that is the situation that you have this matchup for. But Masu just didn't miss a Q that we saw. He was hitting everything, and he was playing in the wave. So the Acathian Rain from Sven is just getting spread across all of these different units, right? It's not all hitting the one guy.
Well, Isles down to half HP here as he needs to get out of FlyQuest's jungle. Luckily, he does have Sven and Spica both nearby, so FlyQuest can't fully commit to picking up another kill. But yeah, we were talking about Dignitas grabbing that first turret up there, trying to bring the gold lead back down to something more approachable. And then as soon as we mention it, FlyQuest make the play to double the gold lead that they had, up to 3,500 here. Again, 14.5 minutes into the game. The Rift Herald is live on the map. And once more, it's so much FlyQuest vision in the topside river.
Yeah, it is going to be really, really tough, I think, for Dignitas to kind of find those angles that they're going to need to make something happen in this game. You know, the reality is, yeah, Spica's got a little bit done. There's a jump in from Quad, but Busio is behind him. Spica's going to help to keep him safe. I mean, you're 0-0-1 on the Nidalee at 15 minutes here. You know, you are about equal in farm, but the Karth is just in such a better spot.
Yep. Dignitas, they're all hanging around down here, but there's not really anything they can find just yet. And honestly, we might have a problem up here in the top lane as well. Bwipo chasing after Licorice here, just putting the bullets in him. Licorice,
what do you do?
I don't think you want to go any closer, buddy. It's time to get the hell out of town. Bwipo's looking to cut him up as Busio survives the dive here in the bot lane. They're going to get another kill back onto Isles as Bwipo takes out Licorice on the other side of the rift. It's a 2-for-0 across the map, and FlyQuest is once again making fools out of Dignitas.
Bwipo just played that out really well, but there's just nothing that Licorice can do. The TF is too damn fast. He's chasing you down. He tries to turn for a potential all-in, but you're never going to be able to win when you're that far down in health. You can't escape, though, either, as even once the Ghost expires, he just uses the ult to continue the chase. So Licorice kind of checkmated in that position. Bwipo really kiting it out well, and now Dignitas really up against it, down 4K. They already lost game number 1. It's 1-7, and Inspired here continuing to farm, taking away the scuttle, gonna look towards Herald and just extending that lead even further as Isles is dead.
Isles is not getting away from that one, man. The support gap in this series has been massive. Busio is everywhere. He is making plays day and night. And Isles has just not been able to find the same results, the same success. 0-4-1 here on this Leona. I mentioned earlier how critical I think he is in this game because he is that one guy that really has a go button, but we're not seeing it.
Yeah, it just hasn't really been able to find any of those angles, and it feels like he's just not right place, right time. You know, so much of League is being in the right spot. As Quad, not afraid at all. He's the one chasing after Spica and Licorice. Maybe they can find something here.
Yeah, Quad trying to kite it out, flashes away, stays alive. Blade of the Ruined King.
Comes Busio.
For the first item, gives him that extra little bit of burst. As Busio could be in some danger. Licorice looking to force him back. Nice spear there onto Inspired. Busio wanting to keep his jungler alive, but it ain't gonna work. Isles is on the board. They get the shutdown on Inspired.
It's so unfortunate because last game when they got the big shutdown on Masu, it went to the Leona. This game when they get the big shutdown on Inspired, goes to Leona. Not where you want to see it. Bwipo maybe in trouble.
Yeah, Sven's jumping on him. Bwipo's outplaying it for now. Killer Instinct into the Acathian Rain. Gets Sven the kill, but he's got the explosive charge strapped on his head, man. It's just one of those where you got to sit there and say goodbye.
Yeah, he knows it. He's going down. Did find that 1v1 kill, though, onto Bwipo, so going to be happy about that. It got a lot closer than I thought it was going to be when the gold card came through. Oh, nice flash in for Busio.
Once again, man, this guy keeps making plays. Spica down to 100 HP. Heals it back up. And now Isles has to be concerned. Masu continuing to fire off these Mystic shots.
Man.
Yeah, he's just completely not concerned with Dignitas right now. And honestly, 6,500 gold lead, 18 minutes into the game, I don't think there's cause for concern.
I mean, they're styling on. This is the kind of confidence you want to see from these young bot laners. Masu and Busio have been the big story to me in this series, even though obviously all the talk coming in was about Bwipo and Inspired versus Jensen and Spica, you know, this kind of rivalry there. But it has been the FlyQuest bot lane making all the noise, walking the walk, talking the talk, and they are looking really strong here. Second Dragon as well, going to go the way of FlyQuest. Is now 6,000 gold lead, and they have the objective advantage here. And if it is going to be a Mountain Soul going the way of FlyQuest, there's just no way you can really see Dig, you know, bursting someone down through that.
Right, and especially, I mean, you've got Corki, you've got Nidalee, you've got these champions that like to poke. Permanent shield that refreshes after not taking damage for a little bit is pretty tough to deal with here. Dignitas, honestly, I was hoping for such a close series out of this today. You even mentioned at the top of game one how you were looking forward to this head-to-head.
I was looking forward to it so much.
Yeah, dude, this was supposed to be the banger, and instead, it's just Dignitas not up to the task. Masu goes on a rampage. And now we got to see if Spica can even try to get away. You're seeing a lot of pings up on Jensen as well. They know the Corki is back there, and they are looking for more kills. Another TP ready to show up, but Busio makes it easy for Bwipo to grab the kill. Jensen's trying to fight back, but this Corki doesn't have any mana to get the job done. Bwipo's still alive, and he's not afraid at all. Inspired and Quad ready to reinforce. Objective bounties are available soon. They're going to need a lot of those. Masu going to take down the tier 2 turret in the mid lane with a Rift Herald here as well.
And FlyQuest are just everywhere, putting on a show today, winning in the top lane, taking down the turrets mid lane. They're winning every fight we see on screen, and then you look at the minimap and they're winning elsewhere too.
This is just incredible from FlyQuest here today. These guys are looking really, really good. I was the one of us who had FlyQuest the lowest rated on preseason power rankings because I thought they had a lot to prove after their showing at MSI. I thought they had a lot of issues that they needed to work out. And if they keep doing like this, all right, I might just have to be a believer.
Yeah, I mean, they are looking really, really strong and are going to be trying to look towards these other matches up at the top of the table. Obviously, they did lose at the start against Team Liquid. They would love to get a rematch against them, potentially in playoffs. As maybe a pick here.
Flash for the Zenith Blade, engage after Masu, but he gets away. Both summoner spells had to be committed to do it. But that's just fine. Masu gets away from it. No pick, no shutdown. Dignitas wanted to make the moves. I like the fact that Isles went for it, but Masu just had the response. When both summoner spells are available, when there hasn't been any pressure on him up until that point, he's fine, just throwing everything in the tank to get away.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal's just so slippery. It's very difficult to lock down Masu. You know, he is a bit too far forward, does lose the summoners, but as you said, that's what they're there for. Stays alive. He's 4-0-0. Dignitas would have loved to get the bounty off of him, but even if they do, they're just really so far away from being competitive in this game. They would need to get fight after fight after fight into something like the Baron to even have a chance. As Quad's on 2 items, and they're trying to move in here to contest around that river, but they just don't really have a way in.
No, and you can see the Void Seekers from Sven just don't do anything meaningful. That was, what, 200 HP off of Bwipo? That's not exactly a tanky target, man. This is just not good for Dignitas. No flash available on Jensen or Sven or Isles. Spica, get that Leandries out of the way.
I mean, this top lane gold diff is also insane at this point. It's over 3,000 gold, 3 full items already done for Bwipo at 21 minutes. He is farming well, he is taking plates, he's getting kills. He is utilizing that passive to the fullest. As Masu here around mid lane, they'd like to try to find an angle to go on him before his summoners come back up, but that is, of course, why FlyQuest is playing around him, there to cover in case there's any sort of an issue.
Man,
it shift in, though.
80 TF, so strong here. Sven, he uses the barrier. He barely stays alive, but Bwipo's gonna grab the kill on Licorice. Now Sven has to still try to get away. Busio's coming in from the side. True Shot Barrage only gonna hit the wave. It will not finish the kill on the Kaisa, but Isles is gonna drop yet again. Spica wants to escape, but Bwipo deals him a losing hand. Jensen ain't gonna do anything to Quad, and Dignitas just crumble to dust.
This could be it. They're marching on the base 22 minutes in. FlyQuest made no mistake about it today. They show that they are the far superior team.
Dignitas is gonna need more than trash talk if they want to compete with FlyQuest when they're playing like this. There's the last last kill they needed. Isles respawns, but what is he even gonna do? Nexus turrets are already gone. 2 takedowns on Jensen there for Inspired. FlyQuest absolutely smacks Dignitas.
And Inspired with the all chat as the Nexus is exploding, hits Jensen with the so vegan. A little bit of salt in the wound there. Dignitas gonna want their revenge, but if they're even gonna find it, they're gonna have to wait till playoffs, because FlyQuest crushed them today. A quick 2-0, back-to-back dominant series, honestly, here today that were showcased. FlyQuest on a march towards the top, not gonna be impeded whatsoever by Dignitas. They're gonna be targeting these top teams, looking to see if they can win a championship.
Awesome showing from FlyQuest. Let's go down to chat on stage.
Thank you very much. Quad, really quickly, congratulations on your win. How did it feel to pick it up against Jensen? I know a lot of other people have been building up the rivalry.
I'm very excited today game, but I feel like today my enemy is not Jensen. I think Minion is my enemy.
Wow. How was the team in the approach up to this series in terms of taking this more or less seriously than another LCS opponent?
Oh, sorry, can you say again?
Yeah. Was the team making this a more important match than a different team because it was Dignitas and Jensen?
I think we don't practice not different style. I think just we keep going like our style. That's all.
How have you been adapting to the LCS now 3 weeks in?
I feel like really easy and I get used to it. Our team style and LCS style.
Where do you rank FlyQuest now in terms of yourself and the other LCS teams?
Oh, sorry, can you say again?
Sorry, that was a poor question. Where does FlyQuest rank in the LCS?
If I'm not nervous, I think we are rank 1. Yeah.
All right, Quad, with that, congratulations. Best of luck in the next couple of weeks and the rest of the LCS season. That's it from here. Let's send it to the lounge to close out the day.
That answer, right?
That was good.
If I'm not nervous, we're number 1.
Love that answer.
Both of our series, a little one-sided today, Raz.
The second one being shocking.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, except Jet, expected the 2-0 and in such dominant fashion. But let's take a look at today's player of the series.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because again, they never tell us.
They don't.
Who wins? Okay, it is Thanatos and Busio.
And it's a reminder for you guys who the player of the series just yesterday was too, with Palafox and Impact winning that out. So congratulations to all 4 players for picking up player of their series in their respective series. Welcome back, chat.
Yeah.
What a fast week.
Yeah, it was quick.
Normally we haven't even started the week by this point.
Yeah.
And we're already done.
True.
Yes.
That's what we get for not being on the weekend this week.
4 2-0s.
Yep.
And I don't think a game went longer than 30 minutes today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The FlyQuest series was a stomp. I'm glad Whippo, I was actually going for Whippo Busio, but they just kind of pushed Quad and then they left him there.
We were wondering what was going on.
I wanted Whippo to stick around.
Yeah.
But I do think also I was watching the players celebrate right after the match. Whippo went to Quad first and gave him a hug, and then he went to his bot lane.
Oh,
I think it's a really meaningful win for the team. They're not going to overly build it up, but the fact that Quad had a little bit of trash talk afterwards as well, it's a nice welcome to the league, because I feel like just because of the rivalry between Inspired and Jensen, everyone's been trash talking Quad. It's like this massive amount of collateral damage. So he looked good today, and I look forward to seeing him continue to develop.
It's like good player team bonding in a way, like the rallying, the camaraderie, and the fact that we actually get to hear from him. And we've heard how good his English was.
Impressive.
That was a damn good.
So normally I'm better at preparing my questions if it's not an English as a first language speaker.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was going for Whippo, so I messed up a few questions, but he hung in there really well.
He was really good. I hope we get to hear from him a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Two very different style interviews,
right?
I guess. As we take a look at today's series, going back to the C9 series, I think Thanatos, we kind of talked about him going into the series as being like, okay, is he going to have these pop-off moments? I thought he performed insanely well today. Their topside control was so dominant.
The lane was good. He connected with his jungler really well because they were playing towards their jungler in the game 1. It was the Zyra, in game 2 it was Karthus. So I thought they played really well as a team, which made this award pretty hard. But Thanatos as a whole did exactly what you expected from what Reaper had said, which was, you know, just a very good individual player in how he played out lanes and the team fights.
And then in the second game, when he was put on Skarner, he then team fought really well. He was finding the either turnaround moments in the fights or the clean engages, and it ended up being back-to-back 24-minute games for Cloud9 taking down Shopify.
Yeah, and this is a great note for C9 to kind of be on going forward now too, because I think, again, this kind of proves how well they've been working together as a team. As we see FlyQuest working insanely well
Just the end
as
of
a
this game,
team.
we can't see the CS. Inspired had we got it. Inspired has more CS than Quad and Jensen.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He smurfed game 1. He absolutely ran it.
He did. And in terms of smurfing, I felt like Masu and Busio, specifically Masu in this play, gets the Q off as you flash forward. Well done from him. And in game 1, when they turned the Brand gank, I thought their bot lane carried them in this series. Sure, they all played well, but like the biggest gap came from Masu and Busio. So it makes a lot of sense that Busio ended up getting player of the series. I think I voted for Masu. It makes sense that both of them had really good games.
Yeah.
So good on them.
Yeah, I think it was really close between the two of them for that player of the series. As we pull up our Samsung SSD Fast 5 for the week, we'll see if that bot lane is on
who's
there.
fast?
There they are.
Who's quick?
Masu, fastest kill at 510.
I feel like Thanatos has hit the fastest to 100 CS multiple times here. I've seen his name
It might be a 3
every
in a
time.
row.
Yeah.
Because I know it was definitely last week.
Yeah. I feel like every time we've had this, we've seen Thanatos' top 3. So.
Yeah, that's a future stat request. I'd say the fastest support item is slower than the other weeks I've seen. I think it's almost always 3 people bunched right next to each other, so the fact that Uhi's got a 10-second advantage on everybody else is surprising.
Yeah, and then, I mean, shout out Blabber-inspired contracts, fastest to level 6. I've been kind of keeping an eye on this just because of these insane fast player junglers that we have. Raz, you're laughing.
Because I was like, what connects Blabber-inspired contract? Oh, Zyra Karthus.
Zyra Jungle!
All right, guys.
That's the Samsung SSD Fast 5 for this week. Reminder that Samsung is partnered with Sleeper and Fantasy LCS, and you can earn bonus points each week for drafting the fastest performers to your team.
You know what time it is?
Diggs.
Diggs.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
No, it's not. But it's my favorite time of the week. It's when we talk about MasterCard Player of the Series. And who do you think the Player of the Week is? It is Impact!
All right.
Most winningest player in the LCS goes to Impact, and another Player of the Week goes to him as well.
Yeah, and we spent some time celebrating his career. Just played, what, most wins? Or
most wins.
Yeah,
most wins
in
of all
the
LCS players.
LCS. Of all LCS players. This Mordekaiser answer, again, something I saw in LPL. I was waiting specifically for Impact to pull it out into Skarner specifically because Impact is such a Mordekaiser enjoyer, and he has these pocket picks from the extent of his career that he can just kind of pull out whenever he wants.
Even his Cassante game, where he was put behind because of a level 1 and the lane swap, and his ability to come back within those games is impressive. He knows how to win, and he recognizes the conditions that he is in, and I think he puts himself in positions in team fights to be able to come back in games like these. So, yes, as Mordekaiser, beautiful sight.
Just still destroying his Mordekaiser.
He's still destroying them all, but I think he earned it from both the fact that he snowballed in the Mordekaiser game, and he actually had a huge impact in the second game as well.
Fun fact, he's in year 10 of his LCS career.
Oh my God.
Yeah. One more split. He started one split before Jensen came to the LCS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both in year 10, but Jensen took a few splits off here and there.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but Impact is just steady the whole time. It's incredible.
He's just, I mean, I love what he said to you the other day, right? Where he's like, this means that I am a good player, like consistently a good player. As we pull up the standings, Cloud9 and Team Liquid Honda tied at first place, same match record, same game record. FlyQuest sole possession of third. And then it's really interesting because now, because of the game record, everyone is kind of slotting in behind.
3-4, 3-4, 2-4, 2-4.
FlyQuest has got to be feeling good, man.
They have to be.
They have gone against some pretty tricky opponents already. They're the only ones to take the game off of Team Liquid. They weren't able to take the match, but they're going to be feeling pretty confident going into the second half, especially with how they just dismantled Dignitas here. Now Dignitas has got to be worried, even though they got 21 days to think about it, because they could be 1-3 if they lose that Team Liquid game.
And as a reminder for you guys, as you can see at the very top of it, returns July 20th and 21st. We come back after the 2-week break for Dignitas versus Team Liquid Honda, Immortals Progressive versus FlyQuest, Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves, and NRG Kia versus Shopify Rebellion. But as a reminder, not just us, every league is having that break. So hopefully there's going to be good content to pull you guys over as we look at the NACL summer schedule.
The NACL!
I forgot about that one. How could I?
They're not taking a break.
They're not.
They're going to be here that entire time. So you guys should check that out. That's where some of our future pros like Masu and Busio that we talked about come from.
Some of the players that are literally playing today, Antomio, Zazel, Fake God, all of them, they got their name and championship through there. Not so much Zazel, he may have been a little bit more prominent before that, but...
APA, who's on the desk today.
Exactly.
And that is it for us. Reminder, once again, we'll be back from break Saturday, July 20th for Dignitas versus Team Liquid. Look forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know what that means?
What?
Have a happy July 1st if you're Canadian and July 4th if you're American out there.
Happy upcoming Canada Day, everybody.
Exactly. If you're Canadians like us, and you should be Canadian, happy Canada Day.
I'm not Canadian.
Happy Canada Day.
You good? No, I think I'm dead. We can kill, I think. This flash. Sounds good. I think it's no flash. Okay. I'm dead. Azure Law. Nice.
Clean game. Nice. Wait, the kills is 1-5, by the way. Have you guys ever seen a game like this? Have you ever played one like that?
I don't think so.
Good job, guys. Look also. Rank flash in. Yeah, rank flash in. We should kill Rankton. Yo, I'm out. There he's dead. Nice. Good time. I'm out, guys. Poppy. Just kill Poppy. We're killing Poppy and then we can move, okay?
Help me. Yeah.
No flash or not. No flashes, guys.
You can just peel.
We're coming.
I can reset. I W and my kills for you. Don't worry.
I'm on the way for Kai'Sa.
No flash,
Kai'Sa. No flash. No wire. No.
I was dodging everything. Like.
Holy. Help yourselves.
No, I want to kill the flash first.
I go Kai'Sa.
Oh, I missed you.
Oh, nice. He gave me a thingy.
Guys, I think with the flash, we have to kill him one time.
No! Oh!
Licorice looking to force him back. Nice spear there onto Inspired. Busio, one to keep his jungler alive, but it ain't gonna work. Aj only gonna hit the wave. It will not finish the kill on the Kai'Sa, but Isles is gonna drop yet again. Spica wants to escape, but Whippo deals him a losing hand. Jensen ain't gonna do anything to Quad.
Wait till playoffs, because FlyQuest crushed them today. A quick 2-0. Back-to-back dominant series, honestly, here today that were showcased. FlyQuest on a march towards the top, not going to be impeded whatsoever by Dignitas. They're going to be targeting these top teams, looking to see if they can win a championship.
Awesome showing from FlyQuest. Let's go.